in motion. McGlone, right side, opening, 45, 50, into the defensive backfield, and down finally at the 33-yard line. A big gain for the Terrors.
Well, he saw a great example of his quickness. He was at full speed when he hit the hole, brushed off a tackle and cut back and glided into the backfield. He doesn't look like he's running, but he's getting a lot of yardage. Here he is again. Off tackle hole there. He cuts back against the green, slips one tackle, and carries that man. You can't tackle him around the shoulders. You're going to have to grab him around the legs if he's going to take you upfield for a ride.
Well, McGlone over 1,700 yards rushing this season. Similar to Matt Hinke from Monroe, just an outstanding player in similar dimensions, 5'10", 180, but strong.
Kenosha's in a 52 monster where they roll one of their secondary people up on the line of scrimmage.
A fumble, who's got it? And the Trojans have it. Oh, a big turnover here early in the game as Appleton West was moving, just the exchange.
Yeah, a little shoddy on the exchange. I'm sure Coach will make some kind of adjustment or comment to the players as they come on the sideline. Here's a replay on it. I never even got the ball. Quarterback dropped the ball as he made the turn from the center.
Looks like Jason Reuter might have gotten it. As offensively for Tremper, they'll go with Tom Fisher at an end, Brian Wyruck, Nate Klein, Jason Reuter, Rudy Ruffalo, Kevin Beth, and Derek Sisler. And the play is underway. The give to the back coming up the left side. And that's Vasilopoulos, gets a couple of yards. He's one of the starters in the offensive backfield. But we'll look at the defense here for Appleton West. Chad Capelli, Aaron Klein, Luis Suarez, Josh Baymiller, and Justin Heidel. And in the defensive backfield, a couple of linebackers, Brock Gaylor and John McNamara. Defensive backs, Brett Kadlick, Jason Drew, Jeff Reitzner, and John Ostwald, an outstanding player back there and a co-captain. And there you see the quarterback, Brian Bobeck, a senior 5'10", 182 for the Tremper Trojans. Second down, out of the eye, the give to Vasilopoulos. Flag on the play, Vasilopoulos down to the 47.
That was a little counterplay to Vasilopoulos. He started out to the left side, pulled the backside guard and tackle, and then they lead through the hole. When they do run and run straight at you, they like to run on the left side where Ruffalo and Beth are. Those are their two best offensive linemen.
A little illegal procedure against Tremper. The officials tonight, the referee, John Page from Hudson. The umpire, Jerry Carter from River Falls. Jeffrey Linehan and David Page, both from River Falls, are the line judges. So it'll be a 5-yard penalty against Tremper. And they'll go back to second and about 12 from their own 29.
You see Brian Bobeck will come to the sideline and get the play directly from Coach Davies whenever he's in the midfield or to that hash mark.
He's going to be a busy man tonight. Out of the eye, two receivers. Vasilopoulos again, not much there, and spun down. Brock Gaylor penetrated and swung him down for a loss.
That was a little tailback trap, and somebody shot the seam. Gaylor got in there, was unaccounted for, got penetration, and made the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. There we have it on the replay. There's a counterplay again with the pulling guards, and you see Gaylor get in there. Somebody forgot the down block on him, and he slipped through there.
McNamara and Gaylor are among the leading tacklers for Appleton West. So often happens in that 5-2 defense. Third down passing situation. Bobeck looking, rolling. One receiver there. He's covered. And so Bobeck has to run. And he's hit hard, perhaps out of bounds. Kurt Mueller over there. I should say Kurt Miller. No flag on the play, and it'll be fourth down.
Little play action pass where he rolled out to his left. They were going to have some crossing receivers. Here we have it on the replay again. There's a fake, another fake. He boots it, rolls out this way looking for somebody. No one there, just packs it away and runs it upfield.
Now they only had one receiver on that side, and it was double coverage. So that was the smart thing to do. But again, Bobeck, the leading rusher for the team, so you know he can run it, and he'll run lots of bootlegs.
He's a durable kid. He has a running back's mentality.
Derek Sisler, the punter. Twin safeties for the Terrors, and the punt's away, and a good one. Taken at the 35. This is Kadlec, and tripped from behind. They say there's no fumble, though. Brett Kadlec back there to take the punt. Kevin Beth on the tackle, and that fumble was caused by contact with the ground. Now, no score for our commercial stations along the line. It's time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
It's the annual Camcorder Countdown Sale at Van Breedy's, where you'll find the largest selection at the guaranteed lowest prices. An RCA 8mm camcorder with 8:1 zoom, blind erase head, and much more is only $649. Or choose a thin-profile full-size camcorder from Sharp with 12:1 zoom for only $799. And as a special bonus, we'll include a tripod, carrying case, and tape with any camcorder. Plus, pay no money down and make no payments until February of next year during the Camcorder Countdown Sale, only at Van Breedy's, Appleton, Little Chute, and Green Bay.
Pomps knows trucks. Pomps knows cars. Pomps knows Midwestern mud and asphalt, back roads, and open highway. We can get you there and back, wherever you need to go. Whatever your tire needs, Pomps knows tires. For your own peace of mind, you should know Pomps.
30 to go in the first quarter, and Paul Engen, the head coach for Appleton West.
This is his 24th season at Appleton West, and he said last week this might be his best team, and he's had some real good ones. So when a coach goes out and says that, you know he means it, and he's going to stick by his words, and they are an excellent football club.
Well, they've qualified a number of times for the state playoffs, have not won a state championship, so they'll get it 1st and 10 here in their own territory. The man in motion is Hunick. And Erickson to pass. Comes back the other way now. Finds a receiver complete. At the 44-45 line, that's Dean. Jim Dean, the tight end, makes the reception, tackled by Bobeck, but it's a first down.
Dean's a big 6'2", 215-pound all-conference tight end. I want to tell you something. That was not his primary or his secondary receiver. He was dragging him from the backside. Here's the replay again. These two receivers out to this side run a crossing pattern. There's no one there. He scrambles to the backside and picks up the tight end crossing. That was great heady play by Erickson.
He's an outstanding athlete. We'll talk about him a little bit later. 1st and 10 from the 45. The give up the middle to the fullback there, just a couple of yards before he's taken down by a host of tacklers. So it'll be 2nd down. Talking about Erickson, the quarterback, he's an outstanding baseball player. His dad, in fact, is the baseball coach at Appleton West.
Yeah, one of the more successful baseball coaches in the state, has a number of state championships on their mantle, and I guess it rubs off on the kid. He's a good athlete in everything he participates in. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's a basketball player, too.
That's right. He had been alternating with Mark Weinberg at quarterback for much of the season, but they went with Erickson in the playoffs, and he's led them, obviously, to 3 wins. 2nd down, McGlone to the left, across the 50, bottled up there. You get about 3 or 4 yards, and it will leave it about 3rd and 4.
Appleton West is going to come out in a couple of different formations, Kenny. They're used to being primarily an I team, but they went to a little wing T these last couple of seasons, and they've been very effective in it. And so if you shut down the I, they're going to throw the wing at you. You shut down that, they'll go back to the I. They're a multifaceted offense, and so you've got a defense, a couple different formations, and a couple different tendencies.
3rd and 4 from the 49. McGlone to the right side, 1st down yardage. A flag on the play, though. And we'll see who the penalty is against. Tackle made by Ryan Elson in the defensive backfield, but that play kind of inside sweep has been working.
Yes, it is. That's an old counter sweep or a wing T sweep, and they run it very effectively when you got a kid like McClone who's that fast. Even though he's crossing all the way from the other side of the field, he gets there in a hurry and he's going to get some yardage.
Now, but Appleton West, a holding penalty, so they'll come back. As we see Appleton West on the year from the Fox Valley Association, 7-0 and 12-0 overall. Interestingly enough, they had a very tough game against Kaukauna, winning it 17-7. It was a 3-0 game after 3 quarters, and Kaukauna, from the same league, made it through to the Division II championship game.
Well, that's very similar to the middle border teams of New Richmond and Baldwin-Woodville.
Conferences can be proud when they have 2 teams, or even 1 team in the state finals. Erickson to pass. Long downfield for Miller. He's got it. 25-20. Down at the 14. They pass to the tight end, Brian Miller, and now 2 pass completions to the 2 different tight ends.
I want to tell you, that was great play action. Vasilopoulos, the cornerback, just hesitated just for a moment, and that gave Miller enough time to get to the outside and get free. Great execution by Erickson. Here it is. It's a double play fake. He rolls out, just sets up a nice toss right in full stride. Pretty good catch by Miller, and there's Billy holding on for dear life.
Yeah. And West hasn't passed that much to their tight ends. Dean only caught 8 passes all year. So it's a big first down for the Terrors at the 15-yard line as they're waiting now to reset the change. A little confusion there along the line. It's 1st and 10 from the 14.
Inside the 10 and in short yardage plays, they're going to go with 2 tights and a power eye, very similar to what the Pier ran all day. They close up their splits a little and just come after you.
Seems like more teams are going to that power eye.
Yeah, it's a nice offense. You get a lot of people in an area of attack in a short amount of time, and you can really load up. Now I take that back. Now they're in the wing.
Yep, they're in the wing formation with Hunink, the wing on the near side here. Erickson gives it to the first man through a couple of yards. Let's see who that was. That was Elliston, and tackled by Pete Shepke in the defensive line there for Tremper. A couple other players in there also. Tackled by Jason Reuter. Pete Shepke, a 5'8 junior, number 5 for Tremper in tackles. He's one of the he's actually the only one in the defensive line who doesn't start both ways.
Yeah, and he's the only one that did not make all conference in that front 5. So
right.
They're loaded up front.
2nd and 9 from the 13. 6 men along the line. McGlone to the right side has a hole. 5. Touchdown, Appleton West.
Well, I tell you what, he's a slippery ball carrier. He bounced off and made a little twist and wound up in the end zone.
That's a 13-yard touchdown run for Jason McGlone, his 27th touchdown of the year. And with 5:16 to go in the first quarter, West has the first score.
He got a great block there by the right guard. Sam Gage kicked out the corner support, and McGlone cut it up inside and twisted into the end zone.
Now McGlone does the place kicking also. So he'll tee it up here out of the hold of the quarterback Erickson. Kick is up, and it's good. So it's 7-0. Appleton West leading Kenosha Tremper in the first quarter. Good game. Stay with us as we'll be back after we hear from our statewide sponsors, Marshfield Clinic and the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
Today we're going to visit the secret fishing hole.
Where would you be without milk? Milk has magnesium. For balance. Riboflavin for agility. It's remarkably slim on calories. And milk has protein. Boost your energy.
This is the secret fishing hole?
Sure. Ask anybody. Milk. It does a body good.
I think we probably have more rheumatologists in one place than any place else in the state. I think the more rheumatologists who work together and put their heads together to help patients, we tend to get new ideas. Why don't we bring in this kind of a person to help? Why don't we get more staff involvement from this point of view? So in that sense, the more rheumatologists you have, the more ideas, the better program you really provide for patients. Patient care is number 1 here. Always has been.
So 5:16 remaining here in the quarter, and Appleton West completing a beautiful drive that gets them the lead on Jason McGlone's 13-yard touchdown run, and that's what Paul Ingden wants to see. 6 plays, 57 yards, and 3:14 capped by the McGlone touchdown run. It's probably happened a lot. Long drive for Appleton West. They've been very dominant in the conference. Actually, they've been very dominant for the last few years. 11-2 last year, including the loss here in the state championship. 2 losses in 1990, 2 losses in 1989.
I'll take that record any day.
Here's the kickoff. Tremper will get it, and taking it at the 6-yard line. Up to the 20, 25. This is Sisler, and to the 28-yard line. So a good return right up the middle, and the tackle made by Aaron Beardsley. So now Tremper trailing at 7-0. And of course Tremper has the 1 loss, so they should be familiar with being behind. They're on a 10-game winning streak, though.
Here's a replay of the kickoff. Sisler right up the middle, a little wedge blocking. He finds a seam and cuts it off to the right.
Trojans get it for the 2nd time. We'll see what they do as they come out of the I formation. It's Varnell, the tailback, in the I, and Vasilopoulos in motion. And they give it to Varnell. Varnell cutting through a hole out to the 35, the 40. He could be gone. 40, 35, out of bounds. Kente Varnell, number 4, knocked out of bounds, or pushed out of bounds actually, by John Ostwald, but Varnell 5'4", and maybe 130, probably more like 125.
Dripping wet with lead in his pockets. Here's the play again. It's that counter play. Here you see the guards pulling. He gets a nice punch block by Beth, and there goes Varnell up the sidelines. Once he breaks the seam, he's booking right now.
He's obviously quick, fast, and obviously they're not going to be running him between the guards. They give it to Varnell again. Well, they try it off tackle, though, and that's not going to be where he's going to have much of an opportunity. You got to get him somehow to the outside.
Yeah, you want to try to get him outside on counters, tosses, pitches, sweeps, something like that, where he can use his quickness and speed.
Kenosha Tremper coming out of the Big 9 Conference. They lost to Racine Park in the regular season, the second game of the year, and they made a lot of changes after that, and they've really come on and played well, and one of them is having Bobeck at quarterback. He wasn't at the start of the year. Now they give to the first man through, that's the fullback. We've got 2 Davises, I believe that's Joe Davis, the fullback. Yep, it is. Joe Davis is number 33, and no relation, another running back is Steve Davis, number 32.
Just a straight fullback dive. They got a good surge by the right guard in the center. Picked up a few yards. They run a multiple eye attack. Sometimes they'll be in 2 tight, sometimes they'll be in twins, sometimes they'll be in a slot like they are right now.
3rd and 5. Vasilopoulos in motion. Bobeck to Varnell again, trying to get to the outside. This time he's caught and taken down. Jason Drew.
That was the same play they ran for the long gainer. They just didn't get the good punch block by Kevin Beth. Didn't get out there quick enough. He had good penetration by Drew of Appleton West. Here it is again. You see the backside guard and tackle pulling, and Beth got hung up in there in traffic and couldn't get across to kick that guy out on the block.
Now I'm sure Drew reacted having seen that play before, and this is where the intelligence of the players comes in, and both coaches saluting their teams for being good citizens, good students, and good young men. And that says a lot for the character that also gets them athletic success.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams with talent out there, but 2 to 1, if you ask your coach, to reflect upon the teams that got down here, said they're great kids, which means they're self-disciplined, self-motivated, intelligent, they don't make mistakes, and they're all on the same page.
I'm not sure what the delay is here for right now. Perhaps checking the down marker. It's not a timeout, it's just a little confusion here as now the referee is over talking with the coaches over at the Appleton West side. It should be. The sideline coordinator there is Dave Kelleher. And Pauling getting a little concerned. I'm not sure. I'm not really exactly sure what we should be as far as downs and distance. That's perhaps what it's all about. Looks like it's 4th and 9 from the 31. I'm not really concentrating on that, so that's the setup, though. 4th and 9 from the 31, and Tremper's going to go for it. Bobeck to pass. In the flats, got a man. Vasilopoulos, he fumbled the ball, and I think West has it, yes. It's a completed pass and a fumble, but it never hit the turf.
Yeah, it almost looks like he never had control of it. It looks like the Appleton guy just stuck his hand in and stole it from him. It's a nice play, pretty good execution. A little bit more mustard on the ball, he would have had a reception.
Looks like it would have been a first down with the completion. We'll see it on the replay here as Bobeck drops back to pass, and he hits Vasilopoulos. Yeah. Boy, that was a close one. You could either call that a fumble or just an interception.
Yep. Someone got a hand in there and knocked it loose, and there was another Appleton West Terror right there to pick it up.
Brock Gaylor with the interception or recovery, whatever you want to call it, and the hit by Jason Veldblum. So, 7-0, Appleton West still leading it over Kenosha Tremper with 3:01 to go in the first quarter. And both teams taking the opportunity to come to the sideline, and Tremper moving it. Now they'll have to try to play the defense. So We've had a couple of turnovers here in the game, and Appleton West, you have the feel, Ken, has the better feel right now for the game.
There's a little momentum. There's a drive killer. They had a nice little drive going there, and you're going to see the strip again. Really doesn't have control of it, and he punches his hand in there and knocks it loose, and there's Johnny on the spot picking it off.
Well, that would have been a good one if that ball had a tough call, if that ball had hit the turf.
And then what do you do?
Yeah. And the official on that side closest to the play was blocked. But anyway, the ball was caught by Gaylor before it hit the turf, so probably call it an interception.
Here's the power eye by Appleton West.
And McGlone right up the middle, but he's hit quickly and taken down by Ryan Lee right in the middle of the line for Tremper.
One of those adjustments you talked about earlier in the year was some movement along the line, putting Bobick and Ruffalo on the opposite ends and moving back and forth, and then Lee tilting him a little bit. Instead of playing head up on the center, he'll move to the left or the right and just on a little shade, and he'll try to penetrate a gap or knock that center back into the hole.
Well, he's pretty good. He's first team all-conference in the Big Nine. And Erickson to pass. Looking and throwing long. He's got a man out here. Oh, incomplete. And wide open, Jim Dean not able to hold on.
I think if Jimmy would have just kept running instead of extended his hands, he would have ran right to the ball. But once you extend your arms out there, you slow up your step a little bit, and then you just got crossed up. Here's the play again. There's the double fake to the fullback and the tailback, and he rolls. And there it is. I tell you, he's putting it right on the money.
Yeah, coverage over there by Ryan Elson.
The play action fake, Kenny, will freeze those corners. They have to wait just momentarily, and that's usually enough for a good end to get by him or at least gain enough territory where he can work himself into the open.
Well, again, they're passing to the tight ends. That's been the big surprise here for Tremper to figure out. Inside, the handoff to Salm, tripped up by the linebacker there. That was Jason Reuter. Could have been a bigger gainer, but as it is, it'll be third and relatively short.
Little trapping game inside, and they brought Sam. Here it is on the replay. Reverse pivot and just a little cross trap.
Nice play by Reuter to pick him off. Again, the leading tackler for the Tremper Trojans. Nick Salm has the benefit here, as it'll be, I'm wrong, that was third down. It'll be fourth down, so the punt is coming here. Andy Mashinsky is back. And ready to punt. Gets it away, and it's a good kick. Sisler going back, has to let it bounce, and it will die there at the 12-yard line. Andy Moshinsky is a happy man right now. He's a running back and a flank back. 55-yard punt.
People don't realize how important that is. Now you've got them pinned down here in bad field position. Their back is to the wall. They have to change their philosophy and their play selection a little bit here because they can't afford a mistake this close to the own end zone. So they're operating from the 12, and I think they're going to come out somewhat conservatively and just try to get the ball past the 20.
Well, again, the wind, while it's 10 miles an hour, not really that much of a factor. It's a crosswind, if anything. Unlike last night when it was definitely a factor in the Division II championship game. Bobeck. And there's a flag on the play. Gets a couple of yards, perhaps. We'll see what the marker is about. Justin Heidel makes the tackle along with a number of other West players.
Just faked a little dive to the fullback and then followed him up through the hole. We got a procedure call on Kenosha.
Well, might this be the type of game where 7-0 holds up for a while?
Well, the level of their defenses, it very well could. Both of them outstanding defenses, talented kids. They fly to the ball pretty good. They pursue. They got good size, and they don't make mistakes. So you're going to have to earn something. So it might be turnovers and big plays and field position that really dictate the outcome of this game because of the so evenly matched clubs.
Now, Appleton West certainly has a tough defense, averaging just 8 points allowed per game. So they've been tough down the stretch. Roll back to pass. Long. Coming here on the sideline. Trying to hit Derek Sisler. They're all conference split end. Just a little overthrown.
Just when I say they got to be conservative, he comes out and tosses the bomb. Tells you how much I know.
Got to knock on wood when you say those things. Well, you know these coaches a little bit. Are they gamblers?
Yeah, they will gamble. This is a nice time to gamble, too. They've got a second down pass. They go to their best receiver. He's caught 9 touchdowns on 25 catches, and he's averaging 21 yards a catch. So when he does catch it, he gobbles up big yardage.
3rd and 9 from the 14. From the I formation, Bobeck to pass again. Over the middle, incomplete. Good coverage there by Ostwald on Derek Sisler, and that's a matchup that we were looking forward to. Two outstanding players, John Ostwald for Appleton West and Derek Sisler for Tremper.
The ball was thrown just a little bit behind him, but Sisler's a good enough athlete that he's made catches like that throughout the year. He also had his tight end in the opening over on this side to his left, but he chose to go to Sisler.
Ostwald will be one of the punt return players back there to take the puck from Sisler. And again, as a coach, you kind of hold your breath here as he's standing at his own goal line.
Sisler was an all-conference punter in the Big Nine.
He gets off a good kick back to the 43-yard line. And Ostwald has it there. Hit and taken down, but already they are in Tremper territory. The tackle made by Tom Fisher. 41-yard punt from Sisler, all-conference punter, as you said, Ken. So Tremper here, a couple of turnovers and not able to move the ball, is being contained pretty well, as we seem to be getting a lot of play. And my sense, Ken, is that these teams are passing more than they might normally have during the season.
I think they are. I think they probably went into the game saying we're going to look for some opportunities to throw the ball, not necessarily go past crazy, but if they give it to us, we're going to take it.
Oshinsky in motion. Erickson gives to McGlone. Has an opening, but it's sealed quickly. And tackle there, nicely filling, was Jason Reuter.
He made a quick read and slashed through and made the tackle. They're going to have to do that because if their reads aren't quick, McGlone's going to be in the backfield and gobbling up yardage.
That's what's impressive about Jason McGlone. 5'10", 180, but as we've seen here tonight, he is not only quick, but strong. I saw West in their previous game, and I was impressed with his quickness and balance. And that'll do it for the first quarter. And so it ends with Appleton West with the ball in Tremper territory and leading 7-0. We'll hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
How much did you pay for your last pair of glasses?
About $170.
I know it was over $250.
Not anymore. Now at iMart Express. Get one complete pair of single vision glasses for only $39.95, or get two complete pair for only $69.95. Bifocals are only $20 more per pair.
Well, we got two pair for only $69.95 in about an hour.
From iMart Express in Appleton and Green Bay.
In the next 8 years, your average lamp will use 13 old-fashioned incandescent bulbs, or one compact fluorescent bulb. These bulbs will burn 569 more pounds of coal for electricity than one compact fluorescent bulb. Instead of a $40 extra cost, paying just $7 for one compact fluorescent bulb is a public service wise buy.
Does the coach not have to talk about it and his players sense that?
Well, you have two different philosophies. Sometimes you want to be right up front with it and talk about it and discuss it with the kids, put it in its proper perspective. Other times you just want to ignore it and say, I don't even think about it. This is a new club, a new season. We'll just go out and make our own success.
We've got everybody dressed up pretty warmly here tonight, and perhaps a future Tremper Trojan. Kenosha Tremper, one of the two schools in the Kenosha School District, the other one Kenosha Bradford. 2nd and 5. Erickson to pass. Has somebody open. Two players open wide down the middle. Caught. Nick saw him down to the 6-yard line. Well, I saw him run it last week against La Crosse Central. Billy Vasilopoulos on the tackle, but they get those running backs out long, and they're down to the 6.
I want to tell you something. That was great play-action faking by Erickson. He froze a whole bunch of people. They ran the receivers to the outside, and then, as you said, the back's right up the seam. There's the fake. There's the delay. He hides the ball well. And right down the pipe, Mr. Sam.
And a timeout right now by Kenosha Tremper. And they trail it right now, 7-0. We'll hear now from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
When it comes to families, one size doesn't fit all. That's why your minivan specialist has so many choices of caravans at the Dodge Minivan Store. From the luxurious all-wheel drive Grand Caravan to an economical caravan starting at just over $14,100. One size doesn't fit all, but there's one caravan to fit you, fit your budget, and the minivan specialist has it. Current caravan owners choose $500 additional cash or ABS brakes.
What makes a Dairy Queen frozen birthday cake so special? First of all, it's made with lots and lots of delicious Dairy Queen chocolate and vanilla soft serve, everybody's favorite. Plus, there's a layer of chocolate fudge and chocolate crunch. But the icing on the cake is you can get it decorated our way or your way. The Dairy Queen birthday cake. There is no other birthday cake quite like it. We treat you right. Dairy Queen.
Boy, you have to wonder about some people. It's about 25 degrees here, but these young men don't seem to be affected. Big series right now. First and goal. Appleton West leading 7-0, looking to add to that from the power I. McGlone has it. Down to the 3-yard line before he's sliced down.
Hit off tackle and just bounced an open seam and followed his lineman.
That play, you can see it coming, and linebacker Mike Clark on the tackle, but it's tough to stop.
There's McClone on the night. 7 rushes, 57 yards, 8 yards a clip, and 1 touchdown. He's getting some good blocking on the right side by Joe Lausen and right guard Sammy Gage.
Do they like to run to the right side?
It appears that, Kenny.
Second and goal from the 3.5. Same formation. Moshinsky. This time it's Erickson trying to push it through. Is he in? Yes. A 3-yard run by the quarterback, Matt Erickson, and Appleton West leads 13-0.
They got a great push by the center, Pat Blessing, there. He really got off the ball, rolled his hips, and drove the nose guard back, and Erickson just rode him into the end zone.
That's a big surprise. They don't run that very often.
Here's the replay.
I'll have to check my stats to see if Erickson has a rushing touchdown this year. But a big surprise, and it's 13-0. Surprising that Erickson trying to do that's more of a sneak, though, more than a sneak. McGlone on the extra point, and it's good. So the lead is 14 points for Appleton West with 11:08 to go in the second quarter. Time now to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
How much did you pay for your last pair of glasses?
About $170.
I know it was over $250.
Not anymore. Now at iMart Express. Get 2 complete pair of single vision glasses for only $69.95. Or get 2 pair of designer glasses for only $99.95. Bifocals are only $20 more per pair.
Well, we got 2 pair for only $69.95 in about an hour.
From iMart Express in Appleton and Green Bay.
Tires are a major purchase.
Peters, aisle 17.
So you need to talk to people who know tires. Like the complete value line of Kelly tires. On sale now at Pomps. Kelly's will keep you rolling through all kinds of weather. And Pomps will help you find the right Kelly tire for you and your budget. And we'll back you up with Pomps expert service. So don't buy your tires from just anyone. Buy from the people who know. Pomps, the tire professional.
So West will kick off to Kenosha Tremper, and the quarterback, Matt Erickson, pretty happy. He's in the end zone, running behind his center. And that's Pat Blessing and the guards Strelo and Gage.
Great surge.
Here's the kickoff. It's taken along the sideline and up to the 21, the 22-yard line. That works out pretty well for West because when you take, well, you can explain it, but you take a kickoff there, you don't have many options.
No, you don't. You're sitting right on the chalk line there. You have to field it because you don't want to allow them to get the ball, but there's no place to run. They got you pinned in on the sideline. You just have to pick it up and get as much yardage as you can.
The teams try to actually kick the ball near the sideline?
That's a great strategy. I don't know how many are effective doing it. I don't know if they did that on purpose or it was just an errant kick. Here's a scoring drive, 45 yards on 4 plays. It only took a minute 4-3 with Erickson and a 3-yard quarterback sneak.
Again, that was set up because Tremper couldn't get a first down, and they were deep in their own territory. Now Kenosha trying to come out. Gets a couple of, maybe 1 yard. As the carry there by Bobeck, I believe. Brian Bobeck. So much an important factor for Kenosha. Second team all-conference. But passes, runs, as you said earlier, running back last year.
Very valuable to their offense. Plus, he makes good decisions. He's a smart football player and a tough one, too.
This time he pitches to Varnell. No room for Kente Varnell, and he's thrown back. So after that first run and the big gain, not much for Varnell on 2 successive runs.
Appleton is really flying to the football now. They're getting a lot of hats on the ball, and you're meeting 4 or 5 guys. They're getting to the point of attack in a hurry, and they're arriving in a bad mood.
Kurt Miller on the tackle, along with Luis Suarez. Well, that's the thing about football. So much of it is emotion. And the team obviously up by 14 is going to have it.
Sure, especially in a high school setting. These kids are on fire, and they're in the sky high, and they're coming after it.
Got a whistle here and a timeout, and Kenosha would have probably incurred a delay of game as the play was slow coming in. So it's 14-0 with 9:37 to go, second period. Kenosha Tremper trailing at 14-0. We talked about Brian Bobeck and the fact that he's an outstanding athlete. He played on a state baseball team that made it into the state tournament for Kenosha Tremper earlier this year, actually when he was a junior. And that kind of state tournament experience carries over from sport to sport, too.
You bet it does. It adds poise and confidence to your game. You've been in pressure situations before. You've played in big games, so there is a carryover there. That's an intangible that helps you be more confident and able to handle the stress and the pressure of given situations.
Paul Engen there, the head coach for Appleton West, has done a great job in building his program. It's his 24th year. I said, how many conference titles have you won, Paul? He said, I don't know. He said, maybe 11.
Yeah, he knows. There's trophies all over the place in that school.
Well, it's a successful program and one that the school really backs as well. So after the timeout, it's 3rd and 10 at the 21. And here early in the second quarter, a big play for Tremper. Bobeck to pass. Watch out, he's getting pressure, and he gets away. Now he's sacked. Hit first by one of the linemen coming in. Suarez finally made the tackle, but I believe that was Shapo who was in there first, but it's a sack for West.
Yeah, he slowed him up, got a hand on him, and then he had some support from the rest of his teammates here. He's getting good penetration, jumping off a block.
Now that's Steve Shapo, 72, before the nose tackle, Luis Suarez.
Pretty active for a nose tackle. Start on in the middle and run him down on the sideline.
The punt away by Sisler. This one not quite as good. And I believe Oswald, he did call for a fair catch. So, again, that good field position.
Yeah.
How did we get into this sequence?
Well, I don't know. You pin a team down there. Initially, their kick return was only on the 20, and they had a couple plays where they scrapped and couldn't get too much, and then you force them to punt from their own end zone, and there you are on the 50-yard line again.
That makes it awfully easy to, well, not awfully easy, but certainly makes the field a lot shorter.
Sure does.
So West, with 8:50 to go in the second, has plenty of time here for a drive, and right now the Kenosha Tremper defense will have to rise to the occasion, and they do. Ryan Lee and Kevin Beth a tackle in the backfield.
Great penetration there. They took on the pulling guards and more or less just jammed the play. When you get those guards escorting you, it's nice and easy to run behind them, but when you get penetration on defense and take them away, there's no place to go, and you're just in a log jam.
That's really where we are in this game right now. Kenosha really needs to stand up defensively.
They do. They need a turnover here or create something on defense, and then the next time they get the ball, you've got to have a big play on offense.
Now they'll vary up the offense a little bit here. And they give it to McGlone from the not out of the eye. I don't know what position you call that, but Shepke makes the tackle, but he wasn't in his normal eye position.
No, he wasn't. They moved him over a little, and you saw just before the snap, the Kenosha defense adjusted too. Their linebackers jumped to that side. Right now, they're getting outstanding play from Shepke and Beth. They're just getting off the football and getting in the backfield and causing all kinds of havoc for Appleton's blocking schemes.
Rudy Ruffalo, the Big 9 Conference Lineman of the Year, in on that tackle. 1 of 2 on third down conversions. Got a third down here in 11. To pass, Erickson over the middle, hits his tight end down to the 40. That'll be close to a first down. Brian Miller, Derek Sisler, and Billy Vasilopoulos making the tackle. This will be very close. No? What do you think?
I think he's got it.
The marker was on the 40, first down.
Here's the play action again. And it's a little dump over the middle to the tight end.
Well,
sorry, Kenny, I've been really impressed by Erickson's play faking. When he does fake the handoff, he drops his shoulder and hides the ball a little bit. Here's his 4 for 5, 105 yards.
He's 67% on the year. Now McGlone has an opening, 30, and inside the 30. And that play works again with that man in motion, and they power right between the tackle and the end.
You get another blocker over there with that motion, man, and he's running over his right side. That's Lauschen and Gage again. Here he comes. There's the lead back through the hole. He just follows him in there. He's a good-looking running back, real fluid, and like I said, he gets to the hole very quickly.
Matt Elliston, the lead back this time, but Salm will be the lead blocker other times. They rotate their fullbacks in there. And a whistle. We have too much time here.
There was a cross-up. They got into a power eye, and they were going to run a little play action out of that.
Well, you think about it from Kenosha's point of view, and certainly they're a resilient team, and they have the possibility to score points, and it's a long game. We've seen a lot of turnarounds. We've already had 2 games in which the team that led in the first half lost.
Yeah, 14 points is not insurmountable to a good football team. It's just that they can't let Appleton West get too far ahead. Here's the passing yardage, and a decided advantage, 105 for Appleton West and 8 for Kenosha Tremper.
2nd and 5, and McGlone breaking tackles down to the 25. Jason McGlone made that play himself.
Very elusive, shifty, tough. You can't arm tackle or hand tackle him. He'll run through that.
Joel Wright in on the tackle for Tremper, but McGlone here on the replay cuts back, breaks 1, 2, 3, and finally it takes 3 players to get him down.
Did a nice job of shifting the ball to the other side to protect it from the tacklers, too. Very instinctive move by the young man.
Erickson still has it. Play fake. Throwing complete to his tight end Miller. Inside the 10 to the 9.
Kenny, he's threading a needle. There's some defensive people around that football, but he's putting it right on the money. I'm very impressed with Mr. Erickson in his passing. His execution is flawless. He's play faking well. He's putting the ball right on the money. He's getting some mustard on the throw. Here it is again. There's the play fake, the setup.
Now you like to have one of your best athletes at quarterback, and Matt Erickson is an outstanding athlete, a junior. He'll be back next year. But the other factor is they're throwing to their tight ends a lot.
They are, and right over the middle. Kenosha's in a deep, 3-deep zone. Here's total offense, and that might tell the story. 207 yards already, and only 49 for Tremper, with 5:52 left in the first half. It's tough to generate a pass rush.
So it's 14-0 with 5:52 to go. You were going to say about generating a pass rush?
Yeah, it's tough to generate a pass rush when you play action because you have to respect the run first. So everybody is kind of in no man's land. You take your initial step and look for the ball carrier, and then all of a sudden the guy's sitting there ready to pass the football. Now you got to get into your pass rush, and your secondary people have to wake up. So they've been very effective with the play action passing all night, and as by statistics and the score. And about the only thing Kenosha can do is just get a little more surge, penetration by their defensive line, and if it's a run, they'll make the tackle. If not, they're there to make a pass rush. So they have to be a little quicker off the ball, a little more aggressive, and then their secondary has to react a little better.
Of course, this strategy works not only in high school football, but colleges and pros. I mean, we see play action all the time. and Erickson is executing beautifully. The thing, though, again, for West, they've passed the ball, 6 times here in the first half. All year long, now Erickson did switch a lot with Weinberg, but all year long he only threw 60 passes in 12 games. That's 5 passes a game. They've already thrown 6 in the first half.
Well, it doesn't look like a guy who's rusty. He's got pretty good mechanics and great form, and he's putting something on the football, and it might be that there's McClone's yardage, 74 yards rushing on 11 rushes and 1 touchdown.
Now it is a 1st and goal. They're just inside the 10, so they have to get into the end zone here. McClone to the 8-yard line, as that might be a bit of a break for Tremper in that they've got to get 10 yards, just about 10 yards.
Well, the other thing, Kenny, I think if somehow we can get time of possession, I think Appleton West has hung on to the football, and the Kenosha defense has been out there for most of the game, and what you want to do is you want to control the ball and keep that Appleton offense off the field.
Well, and the other thing is that a lot of the players for Tremper are going both ways.
I don't think you'll see that as much as the second half when you start to wear down a little bit.
McClone has it, right side, not much there. Oh, that's contained nicely. Brian Tafora is the first one on the hit, along with Ryan Elson. 2 safeties came up.
He did a nice job of getting upfield, proper angle, proper fill. He got there quickly and then squeezed the play back to the inside.
I see a flag, yep. Holding against West.
There's a break that Kenosha needed. They'll kick it back 15.
So, similarities again to last year. Jason McGlone, the place kicker for Appleton West, made a 44-yard field goal in the level 3 game last week against La Crosse Central. Those were the first points of the game and gave West a big lift, but a 44-yarder.
Yeah, he's a hidden weapon. They didn't use him that much this year because they didn't need to kick field goals. They're scoring touchdowns, but if they have to, he's got a strong leg, he's got excellent form and good techniques, and he can get it through the uprights.
So what that tells you is that even if they're at the 27 or anywhere around there, I should take it back, about 20 or inside, he can hit.
He'll punch it.
McGlone, an all-around athlete. Pretty much a football player, and the amazing statistic about Jason, as you look at Erickson there, all these carries, and I don't have the exact number, but he has not lost 1 fumble.
Yep. Sticky.
Erickson to pass. The blitz. Gets away from 1 tackler, 2, and 3. Now he's into the defensive backfield and down to the 13.
You saw an excellent athletic play there. He stopped and accelerated and stopped again and evaded a few tackles back there. The ball was up in the air. You'll see it on the replay here, Kenny. It's a straight drop back, and there he avoids 1 rush. Look at those plants and accelerations. That's a good athlete right there, making a big play.
You don't coach that either.
I guess not. You'd like to take credit for it, but you don't.
Well, is that the strategy? Put your best athlete at quarterback?
That's what most coaches will do, sure. Because he can make things happen with his athletic ability, even if a play breaks down, as witnessed by this last one.
Right there, yep. Elliston, the up back in the I formation. And McGlone fakes 2. Erickson to pass, passes it to McGlone at the 15, 10, cuts back, and hit down at the 8-yard line.
That was almost like a little slip screen. They faked a sweep that time and rolled, and then McClone just pulled up and turned around and caught the pass.
Jason Reuter has made the last 2 tackles. He's a factor in there for Kenosha, middle linebacker, and he's key.
And you notice a lot of linemen downfield. You can do that because the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. So after the play fake, you had people releasing all over the place. It was a nice executed play.
So they'll try for the field goal. The ball will be put down at the 15, so it will be a 25-yard field goal attempt for McGlone. Kick is up, and it's good. So Appleton West jumps to a 17-0 lead with 3:21 to go here in the second quarter, and the similarities continue between this year and last. So McGlone with the long field goal.
And what was the winning score of last year's game, Kenny? 17-14, is that correct?
That's right, exactly. And that drive won't turn out to be that long for West, but again, that's taking advantage of that field position. I want to talk a little bit about the Terrors and their program. And Paul Engen encouraging players to come out. One of the reasons, not only the success that they've had, they have so many players, they don't cut players. They want a lot of players to be part of that success.
Exactly, and sometimes it's difficult to keep kids happy when you have so many bodies and there's only one football and there's 11 on offense, 11 on defense. That's probably one of the reasons he's platooning, but still with those numbers it's difficult to get kids in the game. But he must be doing something right because he's running a happy ship and they're all working together and they're all on the same page and they've been successful.
They have, and of course nothing breeds success like success. McGlone reacting to his kick that gives him more points on the day. McGlone scored the first touchdown. And on this field goal, McGlone likes it and enjoys it. And McGlone now a touchdown and a field goal. So he's accounted for, and 2 extra points. So what's that, 6 and 2 is 8 and 3 is 11. He's 11 out of 17.
I thought he'd hop a little more. That's pretty sublime.
10 plays, 42 yards. And look at the time it took, 5:29.
And I think you got to factor 2 hidden things in there. The kickoff that landed on the 20 and the short punt that kept them in field position.
Well, let's see if they try to kick it to the sideline this time. The kick is away, and they do it again.
They do it again.
But that's the problem with kicking to the sideline. Out of bounds. So what are the options here now?
Well,
with high school football, can they go re-kick?
Yeah, you could re-kick, or you can take it at the. I think they're going to set it at the 35. Yeah.
What do most coaches do, Ken?
They'll take it at the 35.
That's pretty good field position. And that's indeed what Tremper will do. So the Trojans down 17-0. Now, if you're Ron Davies, you say, okay, no more than 17 points, and maybe even if we don't score, let's move the ball.
They've got to get some confidence back, a little continuity, something that they can hang their hat on going in at halftime.
And a little confusion coming into the formation here. Varnell, the only back, takes the pitch to the outside, cuts inside, and gets a few yards, but give credit to Appleton West's number 79. He's not on the chart here, but yeah, that's Aaron Klein, that's right. And he made Varnell cut back inside.
Klein's a big 6'4", 210 junior, made unanimous choice all-conference. He's an excellent football player, and he's only a baby.
He's only what?
He's only a baby.
Baby, meaning a junior?
Yeah, he'll be back.
2nd and 7. Hold that. Screen. Like a screen. It is. They get it to Vasilopoulos and some blockers. It's a first down to the 50. Still going inside the 45, and a big play for Tremper.
Good-looking play. Great execution. Nice hard running by Vasilopoulos after he caught the ball. Bobick held it just the right time and released it.
So they get a first down, and suddenly you're talking perhaps about some points here. Plenty of time to go, 2:33.
There's a replay, and they're going with a hurry-up offense here. No huddle.
Go back to pass. Throwing long, intended for Sisler, but I think they misread each other.
Yes, they did.
And it's incomplete.
I think Sisler was looking for just 4 yards up the field in a plant, and then Bobick was looking him to get upfield after the initial stop. Almost like a stop-and-go pattern. Well, they came out in a one-back, and they tried to stretch out the defense here and get the ball to Varnell, and then they screen pass, and now they try to get it to Sisler. So they're spreading it out a little bit and trying to create some problems for the Appleton defense and pick up a scorer before halftime.
Oh, and right now they're slow in getting into play. It comes from the split end Sisler, and they'll have to call a timeout. Too slow in coming in, and Tremper calls the timeout. They should have either 2 or 1, but it's 17-0 with 2:26 to go. Maybe you can explain a little bit, Ken, how that happens, that plays are slow in getting in from the sideline.
Well, Coach Davies will have a chart down there, and he has some certain tendencies and field positions, what he wants to run in a given situation. Sometimes it changes depending upon the defense they present to you, if they show you something that you didn't scout for or that you haven't seen before. So that might cause a little question in your mind, should we go with this or should we not go with this? Or if what you had down on your chart just isn't very successful and they've been defending it well. Now you've got to maybe go to a grab bag or a backup plan. I shouldn't say grab bag because most coaches have one plan and then they'll back that up if something else doesn't work. The fact that he calls the plays in may hurt him a little bit too, because then the player has to run all the way back to the huddle and make the call there. Some coaches waggle them in with the baseball signals, some send players in, and some call them in on the sidelines. To each his own, I guess. They usually try to work it out, but there's disadvantages to every system.
At any rate, that's a lot happening from the sideline to the field in, 25 or 30 seconds?
That's correct. And one more factor, they might be calling down from the press box and saying, Coach, run this or run that. I think they're susceptible to this play at that time, and it may not even be on the chart. Maybe they're improvising a little bit.
Bobek, 2 for 5, just 25 yards, and you saw some fans here. You've got to be a brave and loyal fan to be out here in 25-degree weather on a cold November night. But it's a good football game. And Tremper, 2nd down and 10 from the 45. Bobek, looking to the right, has a man, gets it to his receiver there. He's hit and goes down immediately. Tom Fisher, the tight end. Jason Drew and Jason Veldblum tackle him. And the clock keeps running with 2:13.
That was a crossing pattern. They brought tight end Fisher back from the other side underneath the coverage.
Bobek again, short drop, passes it out in the flat, too far for Sisler, and help there from Ostwald, and single coverage by Brett Cadlett.
He had his man beat, but it would have had been a perfect pass in order to get him in the end zone. He was in full stride, and Ostwald might have picked him off anyhow. When they want to throw, get the ball to Sisler. He's a productive kid and a touchdown kid. And 25 catches on a season, but 9 of them have been for touchdowns, and he averages about 21 yards a catch.
Yeah, that's the big factor, 10 touchdowns. He's also an outstanding athlete, has jumped as high as 6'8" in track. Bobek to pass, over the middle, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Almost the catch there for Jason Polovic, the flanker, seldom thrown to. But he had a chance there to make a big play.
Oh, that would have been a spectacular catch. You're right, I'm going to replay again. He reverse pivots, rolls out, and there's a crossing pattern deep. He gets his hands and it just can't hold on to it.
The ground really caused that. Impact on the turf.
That's when it bounced out. You called it, Kenny. Great effort by the young man.
Jason Polovic, 5'10", 152 senior. So that was a 4th down play, so back we come for Appleton West. Fumble, and Tremper looks like they're on it.
You know, that's the second fumble by Matt. And he's fumbling the ball coming out of the center.
Go ahead.
He's fumbling the ball coming out of the center. What they teach you to do is once you get your hands on the ball from the center, to seat it, set it into your stomach, and then extend it again to the back. But you'll see his hands are hanging here, and he might have got bumped by the pulling guard. It looks like a little trapping play, and I think that's what happened.
But didn't it look like Tremper should have had that ball? Erickson made a good play just to get back underneath there. 2nd and 12. McGlone through an opening, and not much there. With 1:14 to go in the half, I would imagine that Appleton West will be relatively conservative.
You know, he didn't gain that much, but he slithered through an area. I thought he would have been stopped behind the line of scrimmage, and somehow he managed to get about 2 yards on the carry.
Jason McGlone, 1,680 yards last year, 2nd team All-State. I don't know how it's going to work out this year, but I would imagine he'd have to be a candidate for 1st team All-State this year.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that's a safe bet. Very quiet, unassuming fellow off the field, says Coach Engen.
3rd and 9. This time to give to Salm, I believe. Yep, 34. On 3rd down, he gets it out to the 47-yard line. They'll leave it 4th down.
That's a little cross trap action again. Same thing DePere ran out of that power eye. It's a nice sequence. You give it to your tailback and get everybody concentrating on him, and then you bring back that little offset back with a trapping play in the middle.
Now that could be the final play of the first half, as West might let it tick down. And if the clock was set with less than 25, looks like we're going to make it. So it's halftime here at Camp Randall in the Division I championship game and Appleton West leads it 17-0 over Kenosha Tremper. We'll be back to take a look at the highlights, have a halftime interview, but right now it's time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
We know that owning a home is the single most important investment you can ever make. That's exactly why you should take the time searching for the right mortgage opportunity.
Whether you're searching for a new home loan, construction, or refinancing your current home, we'll walk you through all our mortgage programs, finding the best program to save you money.
Put Fox Cities Mortgage's combined 60 years of experience to work for you. Call the home loan experts today.
Fox Cities Mortgage and you, a winning combination.
Similarities abound between this Division I championship game and the one a year ago, as Appleton West leads Kenosha Tremper 17-0. A year ago in this same game, it was just the opposite. It was Kenosha Tremper 17 and Appleton West nothing. If you're just joining us, these two teams meeting for the second time in a row in this title game. And so I suppose if you're Kenosha Tremper coach Ron Davies, you say, hey, we can come back. This is not out of reach. The other team, Appleton West, almost did it to us last year.
Exactly. 17 points is not the end of the world, but you can see the end of the world from 17 points. So what Kenosha has to do, their next possession in the second half, either the first or second possession, they got to get a score. You got to get the kids' daubers back up. You got to give them a little bit of confidence. But they've been a victim of field position and some poor kicking this first half, and what happened is Appleton took advantage of it. And then the other thing, Appleton had some big pass plays that really helped their drives. Although McClone has some yardage and he's moved the ball, it's been the big pass plays that really catapulted him up the field and ensured the scores for him.
They've done it both running and passing. It's not just Jason McClone, but one factor, Ken, perhaps that we haven't talked about, the Appleton West defense. I mean, it's partially been Tremper's problems, but the Appleton West defense is playing well.
Yeah, the most impressive thing about them is they're getting a lot of people at the point of attack. They're flying around. They have good pursuit. Their recognition is really good, and they're getting to the ball quickly. They have good size, but they're not giants. I think the key there is they got all 11 guys flying to the football.
And they're doing a great job so far throwing a shutout at a very good Kenosha Tremper team. Well, you know, this is one of many state championships held around the state at this time of the year for the fall sports. Right now, Jay Wilson has a wrap-up of all the other state championships.
Two old friends get together for the singles final of the state girls tennis tournament. West Allis Hale's Colleen Lucy and Madison Memorial's Amanda Chenal have battled for the state title before when they were sophomores. Lucy won that match in straight sets, but now they're seniors and Chenal's the defending state champion. And what a battle it is. But Chenal manages a 6-3, 1-6, 6-2 victory and a second straight title. She completes the season with a match record of 28-0, but she says she's going to keep working to play even better.
I'm trying to improve, my net game. I think that's probably one of the areas that I could work on. My consistency, I think everybody can always work on their consistency.
She practices here, but she also has practice on the side, and she puts a lot of hours in after practice here and in the mornings and so forth. And, I don't think that the girls resent her. I think that sometimes they don't just understand her.
Like Chenal, Nicolay continues to make its mark in high school tennis. A 10th girls state title for head coach Carrie Bachman. Erin Grambo and Katie Hoffman of Whitefish Bay defeat Katie Byrne and Ann Lightfuss of Brookfield East for the doubles championship. Prairie du Chine's Carrie Sauvel wins the state girls golf championship at Lake Arrowhead, and she earns every bit of it. Sauvel and Racine Case's Bree Perk go to a playoff to determine the title, and it takes 12 extra holes. They finish as the sun sets, but Sauvel walks away with the championship in the longest playoff in state tournament history. Central's Aaron Carney finishes third. Madison West's Laura Zakis gets fourth. Carney's third place finish paces Central to its third straight team championship. Other golfers in the Central lineup include Jill Myers, Tiffany Feldy, Jenny Betts, and Kate Thuney. The state girls volleyball tournament is in Oshkosh again this year, and here are the winners of the 4 divisions. Wauwatosa East defeats Neenah in the Division I championship game, while Westosha Central beats defending champion Waunakee in Division II. Cuba City adds another title, its second in 3 years, and Mercer wins a tight battle to take Division IV. Unlike last year, weather isn't a problem at the state cross-country meet at the Ridges Golf Course in Wisconsin Rapids. It's a little chilly for the spectators, but the course is in great shape for 6 championship races. In the Division I boys race, La Crosse Central figures to be the team to beat. Sean Agger wins the individual race, but to a lot of people's surprise, Middleton takes the team trophy. Central beat Middleton in the sectional race, but this is the day of the Cardinal.
They all work together. I think that's what helped them succeed. They're all really tight and close friends, and they all work really well together, and they work hard in practice and push each other, and I think that's what it takes is, like one big unit, and that's how they function. A little screwy once in a while, but it's good.
There are a few more notable stories in the girls' races. La Crosse Logan's Avery Walters wins a 2nd straight individual title as a junior, and Brookwood wins the Division III team title, the first championship of any kind in the school's history. A look at the girls' team winners. Individually, Sue Daggett repeats as Division II champion, and Mickey Budge of Webster takes the Division III. In the boys' races, Phillips wins its 2nd team title in 3 years. Amory's Lyle Lee as the individual winner in Division II, while Cadot's John Morgul takes Division III. And something new in the state boys soccer tournament. The field is split into 2 divisions for the first time. The games are played at Mansfield Stadium and Breeze Stevens Field in Madison. And it seems as though the new format is a big hit.
In a Division II school, we've got about 700 kids at school, and we get about 40 kids out for soccer, and we'll have a decent season. And we got some good talent out there. In our first game, we run up against a Memorial team or maybe a Middleton team, and we're out of the tournament pretty quick. But this year, we've made it here.
The Division I field features defending champion Cedarburg. The Bulldogs get back to the championship game by beating Racine Case and Madison Memorial. But in the final, Cedarburg runs into an old nemesis, Brookfield Central. The Lancers beat Cedarburg 9-0 earlier this season. This time it's closer, but Brookfield Central is still the class of the field. 3-0 the final. Mike Malin scores twice. Mike Dindorf gets the other goal. Goalie Jim Coraggio makes 5 saves for the shutoff. And Brown Deer wins the first ever Division II title, 2-1 over De Pere. Jason Schrader's goal in overtime is the difference. Brown Deer was the only team in the Division II field with previous state tournament experience. The Falcons lost to Brookfield Central in the quarterfinals last year, but this time they get the state championship.
We're at halftime of the Division I championship game. Appleton West leading Kenosha Tremper 17-0. For our commercial stations along the line, time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
How much did you pay for your last pair of glasses?
About $170.
I know it was over $250.
Not anymore. Now at iMart Express. Get 1 complete pair of single vision glasses for only $39.95, or get 2 complete pair for only $69.95. Bifocals are only $20 more per pair.
Well, we got 2 pair for only $69.95 in about an hour.
From iMart Express in Appleton and Green Bay.
When it comes to families, one size doesn't fit all. That's why your minivan specialist has so many choices of caravans at the Dodge Minivan Store. From the luxurious all-wheel drive Grand Caravan to an economical caravan starting at just over $14,100. One size doesn't fit all, but there's one caravan to fit you, fit your budget, and the minivan specialist has it. Current caravan owners choose $500 additional cash or ABS brakes.
17-point lead for Appleton West at halftime, but we know that comebacks can be made. Right now our guest up here is Doug Chickering, the Executive Director of the WIAA. Doug, always good to have you along, and this is the 6th game of this football tournament. Kind of a sad time whenever these things kind of wrap up. I think it's gone pretty well. How do you
They've gone very well. The enthusiasm and the fan appeal, I think, has been very measurable this year, and just the fact that we have probably approximately 5,000 people here speaks to the interest in this Division I championship game.
Certainly it's cold, and of course these football weekends are moved up a week, as I understand. In other words, in the 2nd week of November instead of what had been earlier in the 3rd week of November, so you're hoping for decent weather at least.
Well, actually we're back about a week from where we were a couple of years ago because of our normal calendar rotation. But we haven't altered the placement of the football playoffs within our basic calendar structure. It's just the way that things routinely have to fall in order to keep the season from starting on May 5th.
Yeah, really. And of course, we know we're going to get the cold weather. Wanted to ask you, Doug, about something that's been current in the news, and that has to do with the Indian mascots' names and logos, nicknames and logos around the state of Wisconsin. There was a hearing yesterday here in Madison, legislative hearing about this topic, and I know you, as executive director of the WIAA, have some concerns about that.
There's an awful lot of sensitivity associated with that, Ken, and that's recognized throughout the state. The entire issue became somewhat clouded in recent months because there was a county court decision that indicated that the state's non-discrimination laws did not influence whether or not schools could use Indian logos, mascots, and nicknames. Recently, the Attorney General addressed that at the request of the state Superintendent of Public Instruction, and offered an opinion that clearly stated that that did come under the existing legislation. And just with that clarification, a number of schools then begin to reconsider their own positions, and I think that at the local levels it's going to be addressed throughout the state in those 74 or 75 communities that use Indian nicknames. And I'm sure that if there are objections to it, or if there are parts of the usage of those nicknames, logos, or mascots that people find offensive, that changes will be made in a constructive manner.
Of course, that's already being done by some communities around the state of Wisconsin in advance of this hearing and this process. Schools are changing.
Yes, we know of 3 schools for sure that have changed their names. Verona, Seymour, and Shawano already have taken action that they felt was necessary and met with the community standards that they saw. And I would guess that there are a number of others that are also giving consideration to it at the present time.
One of the things, the trends that seem to be growing in the state of Wisconsin, as there are many other states around the country, are the co-op teams, where communities, if they don't have enough individuals to support a team, will co-op or work with another school district so that players in both districts can participate on a team. How is that working here?
Wisconsin initiated its cooperative team effort about 10 years ago. This was done through legislative action of our own, and it took a constitutional amendment to do it. We did it at that time so that if 2 smaller communities wanted to have a team and neither of them had enough student interest to sponsor an exclusive team of their own, that they could cooperatively do that through a contractual arrangement. And it was also intended to give a smaller school system sitting next to a larger system an opportunity to participate. And participation is the key to this. The whole thing was done to provide more athletes with an opportunity to participate. Over the 10 years that we have been doing that, and presently this year I believe we have 158 cooperative teams in the state of Wisconsin, there have been some inconsistencies with our original mission. Anyway, I feel that there have been. And we're going to convene a special study committee to address that issue, and I believe their first meeting will be within a week or 2. And if we have to make some changes in our own position, that will take place in our annual meeting in April. And I would add that we may change our present policy, but I'm sure that we will not eliminate the cooperative team option. It's just that we will have to have a more consistent way of administering it if we're going to be consistent.
Certainly, and obviously the need to be consistent, but certainly there have been plenty of situations where it's been helpful and given the opportunity to participate to a lot of athletes.
It certainly has, and that's why we have divisions within our tournament structures. That's really why we're in business, is to provide opportunities for athletes to participate in high school sports.
That's certainly very interesting, and along that line, I know some other sports are continuing to grow and develop. What are some of the sports that seem to be gaining more participation?
Well, soccer is certainly our most rapidly increasing sport in terms of number of teams right now. In fact, it's growing so much so that last week when we had our soccer tournament, it was expanded from a 1-division to a 2-division format. And we've also seen some growth in our swimming and diving program. And next weekend here in Madison, our swimming and diving tournament will have 2 divisions as well, and the boys tournament in February will have the same format.
We'll be back with more with Doug Chickering, the executive director of the WIAA, after we take this break. 17-0 at halftime. Appleton West leading Kenosha Tremper in the Division I championship game. Time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
Pizza Hut wants you to share in the magic of Walt Disney's newest video classic, Beauty and the Beast. Now your kids can collect Beast, Belle, Chip, and Cogsworth. Each puppet's $1.49 with any pizza purchase. And when you buy the video at your local video store, you get the Pizza Hut value card for great pizza value. So experience the fantasy of Beauty and the Beast, now with Pizza Hut.
Compare the big superstores to our national buying group power and you'll see they can't beat us. They can't beat our prices. They can't beat our people. They can't beat us.
They can't beat us. Ben Vreedy's, Appleton, Little Chute, and Green Bay.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. This is a special halftime edition of News 11 Tonight. I'm John Vigland.
And I'm Marty Spatel. Some slippery roads tonight for motorists in our area. Snow showers in Outagamie County.
Lineup for the Packers on Sunday. We'll hear from him at 10 o'clock.
Ken Syke and Ken Golomsky, the head football coach at Ashwaubenon High School, back here at Camp Randall Stadium at halftime as the players are out on the field and we're getting set for the second half, and we'll take a look at some of the highlights. And the highlights all tilt towards one side of the table, and that's Appleton West. The Terrors have been very impressive. They took control in the first quarter, and really Tremper hasn't been too close to scoring.
Yeah, statistically, they've taken advantage of any mistakes Tremper have made, and they've had good field position, and then they've executed well. And you put that all together, and that's how they have 17 points on the scoreboard, and it's it for Kenosha. Kenosha is going to have to make some adjustments in their secondary and play a little defense a little tighter, get a better pass rush on them. They're not playing the rush that bad, even though McClone's got some pretty impressive statistics, but the big plays have been in the passing game and their pass defenses, so they're going to have to tighten that up and keep them from making big plays. And on the other side, some of Kenosha's better ball players are going to have to step forward and turn it up a degree and start making some plays for them.
Of course, the big player in the first half, Jason McGlone, he had big numbers in that first half, and he also had a scoring touchdown in addition to a few extra points. This is a 13-yard run in the first quarter.
Yeah, you see the two guards pulling, and he sweeps behind him and then just busts through in a little spin move, and he's in the end zone for 6.
Seems to read traffic real well, and that quickness is, again, something you can't coach. You can help improve, but a player has to have that skill. There were some turnovers in the first half, and this one an interception, I believe, for West.
Yeah, you see Bobek roll out here and throw on the run, and this is the one where he stuck his hand, and he didn't quite have possession, and an Appleton West player comes in and jukes the ball and then rebounds into another Terror's hands.
That helped them in getting set up for their second touchdown. It's quarterback Matt Erickson right up the middle.
Gets a great search from his center and his two guards, and he just follows them right into the end zone.
And that has to be a bit of a surprise for the nose guards and the defensive tackles. They're not expecting that. It hasn't happened all game.
Right, they're waiting for McClone to go off tackle, and they may be even cheating to the off tackle hole, and all of a sudden you get this surge off a quick count right up the middle, and you're not prepared for it, and they played it a little high, and Appleton got off the ball and punched him in the end zone.
Now McGlone added a field goal in there, and the stats are as one-sided as the scoring. First downs, Tremper only 2 first downs on the evening to this point. And when you look at passing yards and rushing yards, if you add those up real quickly, it's 231 to about 73. So it's certainly a dominant Appleton West offense, and again, we have to give some credit to the Appleton West defense as well.
Yeah, and then you look at the time of possession there. You have 15 minutes and 25 seconds as opposed to Kenosha with 8:35. And in the time they had the ball, they moved the ball up the field and took advantage of situations and did score. And once again, the defense has been playing an excellent ball game. They pursue to the football. They've been shutting them down when they had to shut them down. Didn't allow any big plays and turned the ball over a number of times. So right now, Appleton West is in the driver's seat.
Both teams with one turnover, and the penalties not that dominant. And there's that time of possession you were talking about, Ken. It's almost 2-1 in favor of Appleton West over Kenosha Tremper. Well, the teams are out in the field. We're just about set for the second half kickoff. Right now, for our commercial stations along the line, time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
How much did you pay for your last pair of glasses?
About $170.
I know it was over $250.
Not anymore. Now at iMart Express. Get 2 complete pair of single vision glasses for only $69.95. Or get 2 pair of designer glasses for only $99.95. Bifocals are only $20 more per pair.
Well, we got 2 pair for only $69.95 in about an hour.
From iMart Express in Appleton and Green Bay.
It's the annual Camcorder Countdown Sale at Van Breedy's, where you'll find the largest selection at the guaranteed lowest prices. An RCA 8mm camcorder with 8:1 zoom, flying erase head, and much more is only $649. Or choose a thin profile full-size camcorder from Sharp with 12:1 zoom for only $799. And as a special bonus, we'll include a tripod, carrying case, and tape with any camcorder. Plus, pay no money down and make no payments until February of next year during the Camcorder Countdown Sale, only at Van Breedy's, Appleton, Little Chute, and Green Bay.
So we're getting set here, and it looks like it'll be Tremper receiving the second half kickoff as they're in position and ready to go. And of course, in the state tournament, you get a good long 20-minute halftime and a chance to warm up, as you just talked about. Pretty important. Ron Davies, the head coach, and can you make adjustments like this quickly in a halftime?
Yeah, you don't go off the wall and start throwing smorgasbord things at you. What you do is, if he's been in this situation before, or if they've talked about it, what they'll do is just make their minor adjustments, maybe adjust their game plan a little bit, look for some weaknesses they didn't take advantage of the first half, and maybe shore up their weaknesses that Appleton was punching at. What you want to do, you got some good kids here. They've been through the wars before. You just want to say, hey guys, let's get back into this game. We need some big plays. We're going to go back to our game plan. We just can't turn the ball over. We've got to get a little better field position, and then we got to execute a little better.
So we're set to go here with the second half kickoff. Kente Varnell and Brian Bobeck are deep to receive the kickoff. And it comes from Aaron Beardsley. A high, deep one, and taken by Varnell. Right up the middle, and hit, and collared down. Nick Salm on the tackle, and he didn't even get out to the 25.
Collared down was the operative word. He just hung a ham bone around his neck and pulled him down.
You know, that might have been Scott Sternweiss, it says on the back of his jersey. Appleton has so many players that they have duplicate numbers. 34 normally is Nick Salm, but a different 34 made the tackle there.
That was a hit. Headlock and a takedown. There you see the passing stats on Brian Bobeck. 3 for 8, 29 yards.
Bobeck to pass again, this time over the middle. Hit Sisler. Out to the 35 and perhaps to the 36. I don't know if Sisler caught one in the first half, but if they go to him right away, that's what they're trying to reestablish.
Right. First down passing play. They're going to open it up here. They had a little fake dive to the fullback and then hit Sisler down the seam.
Trying to loosen up the defense, and Sisler, again, the leading receiver.
You want to put the ball in the hands of somebody who'll do something with it, and Sisler is one of those type of ball players.
They try to run the option series and fake it through. Now, that's something we hadn't seen in the first half. Carrier is Joe Davis, and Brock Gaylor making the tackle.
Yeah, they're going to try to mix it up here a little and maybe throw some things at them that Appleton West didn't see the first half, and one of them was passing on first down off a play action and then this little option. Now, that was the first phase of the option, a fullback dive. The next one will be a keep, and then the third, obviously, the pitch.
2nd and 10. No gain really on that play. Bobeck cuts inside and gets about 5 out to the 40-yard line. About a 5-yard gain. Now, this is something we didn't see in the first half. Perhaps they didn't have the package ready, but with that halftime, you can say, okay, let's go back to our option here.
Yeah, this is something they've run during the season. It's just that they had a little different game plan for the first half, and it's a little trap option. They'll open up the fullback one way, and then Bobeck will come back against it the other way.
Appleton West staying pretty much in their 5-2 defense. 4 defensive backs. 5-2 meaning 5 on the defensive line, 2 middle linebackers. Bobeck rolling to pass. Gets away and now hit and taken down. First hit by Aaron Klein. The second sack for Appleton West. And partially the credit for that should go to the defensive backfield.
Right. Pretty good coverage. Here's the play again. He rolls to the right.
And Klein, the first one there, 79, making the hit. And down he goes. So it's 4th and 10. And back to kick is Sisler.
Justin Heidel got a nice upfield rush and turned Bobeck back to the inside right into Klein's hands.
Kedlick and Ostwald are deep. And they let it bounce. It's a high punt, but they let it bounce, and Tremper gets a roll down to about the 24-yard line.
That might be the worst field position Appleton West has had all night.
That's a good point. And the Appleton West defense holds up and forces what is a 40-yard punt from Sisler, who's been pretty busy, and again, a team that's been real successful all year, and he's had about 4 punts or so, and that may be the most he's had in any one game. Matt Erickson, 6 for 7, 126.
And all 3 of those long passes that he completed led to scores.
They come out with split backs, and McGlone hit immediately, and down he goes. Kevin Beth. You talked about him in the first half, and Kevin Beth, through the season, 14 tackles for loss, and make it now 15.
Yeah, he's going to have to make some big plays, and here it is. He defeats the block, punches up. Actually, nobody got a hand on him. He jumped inside release and wound up with a gift. Right there it is.
Kevin, an all-conference first team. Tremper having come out with their all-conference players, and a number of them made it, and we'll talk about that as the game goes along. 2nd and 12. Hunick in motion. First back through is Psalm. He's hit immediately, and down he goes. And that's a fill by one of the linebackers, and that's Mike Clark.
That's a little inside trap again where they pull the backside guard and then run Psalm on a cross trap right behind him.
Now, Kenosha Tremper coach Ron Davies was not concerned about his team wearing down, even though he has 6 starters going both ways. I presume that he hasn't started to rotate players in yet, pretty much going with those 6 players who convert from the offense over to the defense. Now an official's timeout. Maybe you can explain this. We've seen this a lot this weekend. Officials hold the clock while the chin strap's out of place.
Yeah, ordinarily that would be a delay of game, but they're allowing the players or spotting that and having them snap up.
McGlone through the middle, out to near the 40-yard line, and first down yardage. Kind of an inside reverse, Ryan Elson in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, they brought him back from a little wing position out there and run him back through the middle, and then he cut back and bounced off a man again. Here it is.
He's not in the eye, he's the other position, kind of collided there on the handoff, but McGlone just takes right off, and again, the hole's there.
Somebody should have smelled a rat. He wasn't in his regular I formation position.
And it seems like when he's not in that position, he's involved with carrying or a pass receiver.
Yeah, that's the philosophy. He's your best back. Get him the ball somehow, some way. You may line him up in different places, but he's still going to carry it.
Now he's back in the eye. They give it to Psalm, the first back to, and hit immediately. Pete Shepke, the first hit, as well as Brian Wyra.
Pete did a nice job of shooting a gap there. It almost looked like they had a premeditated slant there, and he came through on and move and tackle a man in the backfield. Here it is again.
It seems like Tremper's doing something differently to be able to meet the runner right there at the line.
Yeah, that's what they did. They had a slant on, and he just shot a gap and wound up right where he's supposed to be.
Were they not slanting in the first half?
I think they're playing more straight up, and it looks like they're having a little more movements, running some stunts and slants inside.
2nd and 10 from their own 39. They run to the strong side, gets to the outside, McGlone, and out of bounds at the 47, the 48-yard line. They like to load it up, get that flanker over there into position to block, and then you hook the end, and there you go.
You saw a number of adjustments by the Kenosha defense there. Just prior to the snap, they adjusted 3 times. They're shifting again. They shifted correctly, but someone who was responsible for containment on the outside didn't do his job. He got turned in and then allowed McClone to get to the outside.
So that's close to a first down. It's 3rd and 1.
In a 50 defense, those ends are primarily door stoppers. They just shut the door and turn the play back to the inside and then assist after that. And somebody got hooked down inside and it allowed McClone to get outside.
Keep them inside all the time. Erickson to pass on 3rd and 1. Throwing long down the sideline, out of bounds. Intended receiver was number 36, Greg Huning.
He got by Elson, but he ran out of territory. He was already out of bounds running part of his route there. And here's the replay again. Here's the play action fat.
That's a gambler's call on 3rd and 1 at your own 47-yard line.
Well, you got a 17-point lead. You can be a little flexible right now.
So Tremper holds, although this is not a bad field position if you're in the gambling mode to fake it.
I think they'll try to punt and pin him down inside the 10 if he can get the roll on the ball.
Sam Gage, the long snapper. And they're going to go ahead and punt, and Washinsky gets it away. Comes deep and taken by Sisler. Has an opening to the 35, out to the 36-yard line. So a good return there as Brett Kadlick makes the stop. And Tremper with decent field position, starting at their own 36, 6:04 to go in the 3rd quarter. For our commercial stations along the line, it's time to hear from our statewide sponsors, Marshfield Clinic and the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
You don't find us immediately going off and buying a $5 million piece of equipment just because the manufacturer says, I've got this piece of equipment that might have clinical usefulness. Well, we have a task group study that in depth before we make a commitment to make sure that what we're recommending to patients and what we're buying technology to enhance their care. And the patient has always been and always will be number one in our system.
Today we're going to visit the secret fishing hole.
Where would you be without milk? Milk has magnesium for balance, riboflavin for agility. It's remarkably slim on calories. And milk has protein to boost your energy.
This is the secret fishing hole?
Sure. Ask anybody. Milk. It does a body good.
Appleton West domination continues offensively, but the approach that Tremper has certainly feeds into a good system. We can talk about that in a second here, but they need to get some yardage. They trail 17-0. 1st and 10. They give it to Varnell. Tries to get to the outside. Can he? No. And down he goes. A loss on the play, and Josh Baymiller makes the stop.
I'm telling you, Kenny, we mentioned it at halftime and early throughout the first half. The pursuit of the Appleton West defense is phenomenal. They have got people all over the place charging on the ball. 5 or 6 guys making the tackle. It's unbelievable the quick reads they're getting. They're getting off the blocks fast and getting good angles of pursuit.
Jason Polovic to come in with the play. Ron Davies we're talking about and his approach, and of course that also, when you say to the players that the teachers are always right, the teachers support the football program.
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes there's a little rivalry or a disdain almost between the faculty and the coach. If you can do anything to bridge that, you're in pretty good shape then.
Bobeck passes, hits his man, and complete. Going out of bounds is the tight end, Tom Fisher.
I tell you what, Tommy did a nice job of catching the ball and keeping his feet in bounds. He knew exactly where he were, and when he caught it, you'll see his head snap and look down to see where his feet have landed.
You know, Bobeck, as he rolls out like this, he's commented a couple times he's the leading rusher, but he hasn't really run the ball that much tonight.
No, he hasn't. It looks like he's had opportunities to scramble a little bit, but I think what he's trying to do is get the ball upfield passing first, and last resort, maybe he'll take off then.
Bobeck, 5'10", 182-pound senior, also defensive end. Now the give up the middle to Davis. Joe Davis across the 50 down to the 47-yard line, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And suddenly Tremper gets a first down.
Yeah, they're on the move. They're mixing up their plays well. They're throwing, they're running, they're attacking different areas in the line. They're trapping, they're optioning. It's a nice mix right now.
And again, something that they may not have come in anticipating, but you call back on all your practices and all the things you've done through the season.
And then the other thing is they started with probably the best field position they had all night.
Vasilopoulos, the slot back. And now the give and the reverse. Give it to Sisler. Good block on the far side. Oh, the quarterback not able to make a good block, and coming in to fill up a little bit and help on the play was Jason Veldboom.
I tell you what, Kenny, that's a big play. If he doesn't make that tackle, Sisler's up the sideline and it might be 6.
We'll see it here as the reverse was set up nicely and Bobeck was blocking.
They ran it off their counter action, and Sisler came back from a split receiver position, and there's Velba making an ankle tackle.
But again, West filled nicely. That play could have gone more, but Sisler had to slow down to get around Veldboom. So it's 2nd and 9. That play only gains 1. And now they give it to Davis. Fouls ahead for a few yards. This is Joe Davis now. He's a 5'9" senior. Chad Capelli, the tackle. So a big 3rd down for Tremper. Again, this is the team that averages 32 points a game, as we have an officials timeout here for a moment. 32 points a game, and they are nothing right now with 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. So they haven't seen this, and especially haven't seen it in the last 10 games, which have all been victories.
Well, they played some pretty good teams, but they're facing probably the best team they've seen all year, and playing outstanding defense tonight.
3rd down. Bobeck looking long. Double coverage. Who has it?
Interception, I think.
Interception. A big play intercepted by Jason Drew. Well, it was up for grabs. I believe it was Sisler back there.
Yes.
I'm not sure about that, but Drew takes it away, had the inside position, and gets the intercept.
They were in a 2 deep, and Kenosha called the right play. You're going to see Bobeck roll out here. They want to go right down the pipe with Sisler. He split the seam, but the ball hung up a little and gave Drew time to react, and you'll see him come over right now. There he is, making the play.
That pass is about a foot farther, and then Sisler's going to get it.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. Here he comes. Nice coverage, way to help out. He had beaten Oswalt already, and Drew came over and saved the day.
So the turnover, the 2nd for Tremper, turning it over. And starting at their own 6, the Terrors. To the outside, McGlone reverses back, out to past the 15, near the 17-yard line. That's a big 1st down play before Ryan Lee makes the hit.
Well, he was awful close to breaking that one. That was the last guy that could possibly get a hand on him.
Well, you know, we see that, and so often it happens where an offensive team is up, and McGlone now with 111 yards, and they keep on coming at you, and suddenly it just pops. McGlone with his kicking and his running, 241 points scored coming into this game. And he's got 11 of the 17 tonight. This is the first back. Salm into the open, 25, out to the 30-yard line, and it's a 1st down. Sisler, the safety, making the tackle.
Right now, Appleton West is controlling the line of scrimmage. Their line is getting off the ball and knocking Kenosha backwards 2 or 3 yards and giving their backs enough time to get into the secondary and then do their thing.
That offensive line, Brian Miller, Mike Schmidt, Matt Strelo, Pat Blessing, Sam Gage, Joe Lausen, and the other end, Jim Dean. Give them credit. Give to McGlone again. Oh, he's got the corner, cuts it back. Watch out at the 50, tripped up and taken down. Vasilopoulos saves the touchdown, but they're into Tremper territory.
And there's a flag back there in the 30, Kenny.
Whoa, that may come back.
I think it'll be holding.
Yes, it is. Did you see the hold?
I didn't see it, but I saw the flag.
That's in the area. It wasn't at the snap, so oftentimes that's what it is as the play develops.
It occurs right after McClone breaks the line of scrimmage.
Well, let's look at the corner here. It's tough to see. But McGlone got the corner and potentially a touchdown-saving tackle. And there's a break for Kenosha Tremper. And I'm sure Paul Engen not too happy about that holding penalty. Look at that.
He's demonstrating a proper way to throw the flag, I think. A conjecture would be their right guard. He had his hands out in front of him. It may have been outside the frame of the block or something to that effect. I didn't see anybody grabbing any jerseys, so the next thing would be your hands are outside the frame of the body.
1st and 18. And the give to Hunink. He's hit and taken down. Oh, big play by Rudy Ruffalo as he saw that counter coming.
Rudy stepped up and just stayed home. He didn't bite on it, and he closed on and constricted the hole and closed on a trap. We haven't heard much from him tonight. They must be doing a pretty good job of keeping him out of the plays and blocking him upfield.
Yeah, he's an all-conference first player. As we said, the Big 9 lineman of the year. And Tremper's defense has been so dominant. They've only allowed 3 yards a rush by the opponents all season, but it's more than that tonight here for Appleton West. Erickson faking again, looking to pass, and passing long. That's going to be intercepted by Sisler. Sisler turns it around, breaks the tackle. Back he comes, Derek Sisler. And there's a break to the 36-yard line.
Well, Sisler was in a 3-deep zone. He's playing center field back there, and Erickson made his first mistake of the night. He overthrew his receiver, and even Sisler had to be in a full run to catch the ball.
Yeah, it looked like he was almost the intended receiver.
You're correct.
Let's see what happens here. Oh, Sam broke it off. That's what happened. He cut over instead of going straight out, and 34 was the intended receiver.
I think he stays in the middle of the field and stays in his route. It's an interesting play. Then it's 2 guys fighting for a ball, or maybe Sam picking it off on a dead run. There's the counter to Vernell, and he cuts it back across the green.
And tries to get outside, but a play that had more potential doesn't get that much, and the tackle made. So Kente Varnell on the carry. And now he'll come out as we're into the final minute here of the 3rd quarter. I think Tremper will probably get one more play off.
If I'm not mistaken, Tremper's had 3 possessions here, and they've come up empty. They'd like to get one here before the quarter ends.
2nd and about 8 from the I formation. Bobeck still with it, running for his life now. Turns the corner, gets a block, and knocked out of bounds. Oh, that was a big block there by number 33, Joe Davis.
Yeah, he really turned and put a do-whack on somebody there.
A what?
A do-whack-a-do.
That's a heavy-duty block, I think.
That's it. That's it.
But he makes that play because that allows Bobeck to get to about 5 more yards. We'll see it on the replay here, and it's 33, Joe Davis.
Here's a rollout, but they chase him out of the pocket and force him upfield, and you'll see Davis turn right there and hook him in.
So they'll get one more play here as the clock stopped with 1 second. And we'll come back to the other end. And it's 3rd and 1, but Tremper in 4-down territory here and really need a touchdown. They're not thinking 3. They give to Joe Davis, and he'll get the 1st down on the last play of the 3rd quarter. So there's no scoring in the 3rd quarter, and Appleton West still leads it 17-0 over Kenosha Tremper after 3. For our commercial stations along the line, it's time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
When it
Strawberry cookie cream for the
close. In fact, urging his troops on to play a strong defensive game, and Ron Davies saying, hey, come on, boys, we're close. In fact, I'm just going by memory here. Is this the deepest penetration?
Yeah, you are correct. This is about as deep as they've gone tonight.
And again, Tremper, a team averaging 32 points, and along the tournament trail, haven't scored a whole lot, but have held teams down to 3, 6, and 6 points in the playoffs. Now they get Vasilopoulos back in position. Running to the outside is Bobeck, and not much there. That play looked like a little confused as they tried to run the option, but Brock Gaylor was right there, and just a short gain.
That's that little trap option thing they opened up the second half with, and they're trying to make something happen. Bobeck carrying the ball back towards the weak side, and eventually, somewhere down the road, if they keep on running that series, they're going to pitch to Vasilopoulos on the outside.
So it's 2nd down. Second down, and Bobeck passing, and does he get his man cutting in? Yes, Sisler on the catch. It's going to be a little short of the first down. Tackle by Veldblum and a couple others.
Here's a replay. Bobeck with the play action again, and that's one of the plays they open up the first half. They could dive to the fullback and then hit Sisler on a slant.
Well, he's 6'4", and of course he's a 6'8" high jumper, so he's going to get up there.
You want to get the ball a little higher and make other people jump. You got those 5'10" corners covering 6'4" wide receiver.
3rd and 1 from the 16-yard line. Split backs. To give to Davis right up the middle, and I think he has the first down.
This is a nice drive Kenosha's put together here. The only downside of it is they're taking time, and they don't have time, they can't afford to take too much time.
Well, the reason we say it takes 3 scores, even if you get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, a second touchdown, a second 2-point conversion, that's only 16.
You're right, you're still behind by a point, you have to score again. And the way Appleton's defense has been playing, the likelihood of that is remote.
It is a 1st and 10 at the 13. Bobeck to pass, fakes. He's trying to find Sisler, now goes to his second receiver, incomplete. The first receiver was Sisler. He was covered. Then Polovic, and that pass was overthrown.
This is one of the first times he's had time to throw. Look for his secondary receiver. He also had some area there. I thought he might have tucked it and ran with the ball, but he's looking for a score.
Well, we commented about that earlier, and Brian is, as a runner, 558 yards, 14 rushing touchdowns. You see him right there, but he just doesn't seem to be looking to run.
He's not running off the scramble. They've had some predetermined with some of this option scheme they've run where he's handled the ball, but once he's gone back to pass, he's stayed in the pocket, or at least tried to. The only time he's gone out is when they flushed him.
8th play of the drive. Bobeck to pass again. Throws in the flat. Hits his man Sisler to the 9-yard line. But on second down, Jason Drew keeps it to just a few-yard gain. And it'll still be 3rd and about 6. Well, they really like to go to Sisler, and I can see why.
Yeah. He's a good athlete, and he makes things happen, so that's the guy you want to get the ball in his hands.
Not only is he a high jumper, he's a 2-year starter on the basketball team.
He's a good all-around athlete. You know, he made all-conference in 3 different positions, free safety, wide receiver, and a punter.
Wow. The place kick, he might have gotten it there, too. 3rd and 6. The blitz. They run the screen to Veselopoulos. Did he get in? No. They say he's out at the 1-yard line, but it's a first down.
Well, that was a great effort by Veselopoulos. He caught the ball right on the sidelines. It tried to stay in bounds and looked like he almost did from our angle.
Tough to see on that side, but the official right there and marks it at about the 1-foot line. But this play had a chance to go nowhere. Look at the heat. Ooh, what a tightrope down the sidelines, and he almost went out of bounds shortly after he caught it. So they're knocking at the door.
They've got 2 receivers and nobody's covering a guy out here. Oh my goodness.
It's a lateral to Varnell, and he picks it up and into the end zone. They mark it at the 1. I thought Varnell had it, but I lost track of the ball. That was an unusual play.
They caught Appleton sleeping. He had 2 wide receivers and only 1 corner out there, and he couldn't get the ball to the man. They came out of the huddle real fast, and Appleton didn't make a very good adjustment. Sisler and Varnell were out there.
Well, and it looked like it wasn't a pass. It looked like it was, if it's backwards, it's a lateral.
It's a lateral. It's a live ball.
You got to see that. As we have a timeout here with 9:06 to go, if we can see that play again. Now Ron Davies is saying, hey, what's going on here? Didn't we get into the end zone? Here's the formation. Definitely threw it back. I'm sorry, it wasn't Varnell, it was Polovic. And he did pick it up.
It looked like a catch and a fumble. Now it depends. From this angle, we can't tell if it was a forward pass or a lateral pass. If it's a lateral pass, it's a live ball. If it's a forward pass, it's catch and a fumble. It's a live ball there too. So.
Well, and I think the official ruled that somehow later on, Polovic got out of that pile up and fell forward. He felt he fell into the end zone, but they mark it at the 1. and the official was marking it there, so he must have said it was a lateral. That was certainly an unusual play. It takes us a while to figure out. Bobeck 8 for 15, 68 yards, and on the year about 45% passing, so he's a little bit better than that. But a lot of times he's had to scramble and not get the pass play that he wants.
Here's the same formation, except Appleton adjusted this time.
And Bobeck's in for the touchdown. So a 1-yard run for Brian Bobeck with 9:03 to go, and it's 17-6. Well, they ran that formation again, and Tremper, I guess, the goose egg is gone.
Instead of throwing now, all he did was fake a handoff and ride the man into the end zone. There he is, fakes the handoff, rolls to his right, and off tackle.
Ryan Lee, the place kicker, and the holder is Bobeck. The snap comes from Rudy Ruffalo, and Lee's kick is good. So, with 9:03 to go in the fourth quarter, it's Appleton West 17 and Kenosha Tremper 7. And suddenly we've got ourselves a game, still plenty of time. And for our commercial stations along the line, time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
Chasso Steel Briar.
Of course, that whole drive was set up by the interception.
Yes.
That always seems to happen. Those turnovers result in scores. Well, you're Appleton West. You lead at 17-7. You're in the fourth quarter. You're thinking right here, let's get another first down. So we know who they'll probably go to. Number 25, the I-back, gets the ball. Left side. No, not this time. And Tremper has momentum.
Yeah, you can just see it. The kids are excited and fired up now. Now their defense is flying to the football. Their sideline kids are hopping up and down. That score has put them back in the game emotionally.
Pete Shepke, the first one in on the hit, reading the play nicely, but he got lots of help behind. And a little slow getting up Brian Taffera, number 22. You don't often see this, a sophomore in the defensive backfield.
He must be a good athlete because Coach Davis requires a kid that plays some disciplined ball back there. He's got to drop in his zones and make some proper reads, and so he must be a disciplined, intelligent fellow.
2nd and 9. The fans really getting into it here. And they go to McGlone outside. Can he get to the corner? He does. And ridden out of bounds, and McGlone not only had some blocking but showed some speed there before he's bumped out of bounds by Ryan Elson.
Once again, Taffer tried to string it out. He did not get enough penetration that time, but he was waiting for his teammates to get into pursuit. But by the time they got there, McClone was around the corner and upfield.
That was a gain of about 5, and it looked like that could have been a loss of a couple of yards.
You see Taffer penetrating there. He just can't quite get off that block. And now help comes from the rest of the secondary.
So this is a big play in this game. 3rd and 4 from the 34, actually more like a 3.5. Erickson, the quarterback. Give to the first back, Salm, and he stopped short.
He did not get it.
And there's Paul Engen right there on the sideline looking to see where it is, and you know he's going to hate to give it up. Would you dare think about going for it on 4th?
I don't think so. You got a 10-point lead. You punt it and play good defense.
He makes the call, and in comes the punt team. Yeah, you pretty much have to do it. Again, it's still going to take 2 more scores, and we've got 7:16 to go. Tremper has all 3 of their timeouts. As you see, Sisler back deep to receive the punt. And that'll come from Andy Moshinsky. And Tremper has 10 on the line. And they try to come at it. Moshinsky fumbles it and sacked back there at the 23-yard line.
Big play.
I was looking at the rush. Did he drop the ball?
He didn't handle it very clean. It wasn't a bad snap. He just didn't get a grip on it.
And suddenly this game has potential to really turn around. We'll take a break right now for our commercial stations along the line. It's time to hear from our statewide sponsors, Marshfield Clinic and the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
great. To form teams.
Just didn't. Error here by Andy Mushinski. Just didn't handle it. Good snap.
It took his eye off the ball a little bit and didn't drop his head and concentrate on the seams. Now, here's the key, Kenny. There's 6:46 left. They have got to score quickly here. And then they got to keep Appleton from milking the clock too much.
Starts from the 22. Bobek to Varnell. He can't get to the outside. And that's going to be a loss of about a yard or two. Kente Varnell stacked up by a number of Terror players, and Kurt Miller, inside linebacker, leads the way. Well, you know, Varnell, first time he got it, went for 46 yards, and since then, not much.
No, they bottled him up pretty good.
6:17 and counting. Of course, you're talking about a score, but got to either get a score or a first down. Bobek to pass, fakes, now goes long.
He's got Sisler, but he overthrew him.
Overthrew him in the end zone as Sisler bounces up against the tarp there. They faked it, throwing to him. He probably did a zigzag on his pattern, but he did overthrow it. Well, now what? You figure in 4 downs here. Ron Davies giving the call there to Brian Bobek.
Play action pass, I would say, or some kind of dipsy doodle stuff.
Well, by throwing long on second, you're kind of committed here to some kind of a big gainer, but you also figure you've got 4 downs to do it.
They've had some success running a little slip screen. Let's see if they try that.
The snap. Here comes the pressure. Bobek over the middle to Vasilopoulos. Nothing doing. First one in on the hit. Josh Baymiller, 6-foot senior, makes a big stop, and it's 4th and long.
I tell you what, he made a heck of a play. He just stood his ground and watched the quarterback drop. It wasn't a slip screen, but it was more of a center screen. Vasilopoulos just stepped up right over the middle. Here you'll see it on replay again. You see him take a deep drop, and there's Vasilopoulos sliding across the middle from the backside.
Well, Baymiller's a defensive end, and he just never took the bait. He didn't go for the quarterback.
No, he just sat home.
4th and 11. Big play in this game. Bobek to pass.
He's got Sisler down the sidelines here.
Knocked up, incomplete. Nice. Double coverage and broken up by Ostwald or his partner back there, Veldblum.
They did a nice job of getting over and on top of him. If the ball would have been there a little bit sooner, I think they might have had 6 points. But they gave the defense time to react. Here it is again. There's a play action pass. He rolls out to the right, hangs it up just a little bit, and that buys enough time for the Appleton defenders to get over there.
It might have thrown it sooner, but when he did throw it, quarterback Bobek was getting pressure from Pat Gruber coming up the middle as we have one of the Terror players injured. Not sure who the player is, but with 5:18 to go now, Pat Gruber is the injured player. He's the one that was putting the heat on Bobek. And that 4th down play now gives it back to Appleton West and puts them in a much better position as the clock ticks down to 5 minutes now. Dan, wouldn't you feel more confident with if you're Paul Engen after making that defensive hold right there?
I guess so.
Looks like he's okay and up and off the field. So now, from the West point of view, you'll try to say, okay, let's try it once more to get a first down.
Well, what they want to do here is in this possession at least get 3 minutes.
At least get
3 minutes off the clock on your drive. Get a couple first downs here because, you know, Kenosha's going to have to come back and throw the ball to get a score.
From the 24. And a whistle. Do we have too much time taken? Or did one of the players break the neutral zone there? That's an illegal procedure against West.
I wonder if that's steam coming out of Coach Engen's ears right now. This is the last thing he wants to see. His defense plays, shuts the door on him after the muffled punt. And now you get a procedure penalty, backs you up another 5 yards. He's uncomfortable right now being inside his 20. And
yeah, don't fumble.
Yeah.
I doubt they'll pass. So it's 1st and 15 from the 19. And they give it to McGlone. Through the 20, the 25. Look at them bring tacklers out to the 23. A host of tacklers in there, Ryan Elson among them. Well, you know, again, McGlone, we talked about it earlier, but no fumbles lost.
He does a real nice job of securing the football when he runs in traffic. He tucks it close to his body. There's no showboating or holding it out. And then when he gets in real heavy traffic, he puts his other hand on it, just like an old fullback running up the middle.
Just 6 penalties on the night. 5 of them, though, against Appleton West, including that last 5-yarder. With the 9-yard gain, though, it's 2nd and a long 6. And they give it up the middle. The ball comes loose, but they say it was down, as down goes one of the officials. And a couple of yards to gain there, so it'll make it a 3rd and about, let's see where they mark it, 3rd and about 4.
There's a man who likes his work.
So Ron Davies trying to coax one more defensive hold out of his team. 4:06 in counting, though, and that's the advantage of keeping the ball on the ground.
That's what I said earlier. If they can hold it for about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, get a couple first downs, it'll be real tough for Kenosha to get something going here.
3rd and a long 4. McGlone coming to the left. He's stacked up. He falls forward.
He's going to be short.
Yep. About a yard short, Jason McGlone. But the clock keeps on going. Brian Taffer among the tacklers. And Tremper now with 3 timeouts. You might say, boy, we should take one here.
They might have to. I think he wants to hold off as long as he can. And on Appleton West side, you want to milk the clock. Take your time. Make sure you take the whole allotted time before you run a play.
They may even take a 5-yard penalty here to take those extra seconds off the clock. And again, Kenosha Tremper needing 2 scores. They'll go with the punt. Lee gets it away. Comes down to Sisler. No blockers to help. And not going to be able to get far. Down he goes at the 40. And really no gain on that punt return. It was a good defensive play by Brock Gaylor. So 2:53 to go, and Tremper, after not getting an opportunity to score from the last possession, now really needs to convert. And I think we're going to look back on that last possession as the key one in the game if Tremper was going to make the big comeback.
Yes, it was. They needed to score there. Then that puts them at about 5 minutes, and their defense have been playing pretty well here. They shut down Appleton and get a punt, and they're back in the ballgame here with a drive and possession with only about 2 or 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
But as a result, now they're back here on a 44 or 46-yard line, and only 2:53 left. They need 2 scores.
Probably cold for everybody here in the stands tonight, but I know the fans from Appleton West probably have a little more warmth with the prospect of a victory. Just try to stay warm. We haven't had a whole lot of precipitation here in these 2 days, but it has been brisk. But what do you expect in Wisconsin? And Tremper will crank it up here, with the fans trying to stay warm in the stands. And we've had excellent support throughout these 6 games, from the small communities all the way through to these large schools. It's been phenomenal. The fans coming in and showing so much enthusiasm around the city of Madison. Now Boback to pass. Finally gets it away and through the arms of Vasilopoulos and intercepted. Ostwald on the interception, and they'll take it at the 45, and that might do it for Appleton West.
I heard the nail go down in the coffin on that one. Yeah, it looked like he hit him right in the hands, bounced off his chest, and Ostwald was there to pick off the rebound.
John Ostwald, his 7th interception of the year, and it's a big one, and might help Appleton West to their first state championship.
Where you see Boback buying time, rolling. He's got Vasilopoulos, and right there it bounces off his hands. Ostwald, Johnny on the spot.
Now the free safety is going to get a lot of picks like that, but Ostwald in the right position, and that really helps the Terrors. McGlone cuts back. Still fighting. Didn't get much as he was hemmed up by Kevin Beth in the defensive line.
The thing about McGlone is you never get a clean shot at him. It always looks like he's making you miss. He'll slip a tackle, or you just get an arm or maybe a half a shoulder on him. You just never get a real square tackle on him.
Well, Ron Davies doesn't want to call a timeout here. He's probably saying it's going to be too tough to get 2 scores with 2:15 and counting.
They'll probably hold on to him till, as long as they can, saving them for offense if they do get the ball back.
2nd and 9. Erickson gives it to Salm. First back through, gets through a little opening out to about the 50-yard line, and here they'll take their first timeout.
Now we're under 2 minutes. You've got 2 timeouts left. There's no strategy for this position right now. You're down by 10. There's 1:58 left. They have the ball. They're moving it. What you have to hope for is maybe they turn it over here. They fumble or something. You pick it up, scoop it up, and get a score off the turnover, and come back with an onside. That's the scenario. It doesn't always play out that way, but that's what you're hoping.
Well, Ron Davies, still needs the 2 scores, and it looks pretty slim right now. But you never give up. You always play it out as best you can. And that's what the Trojans will try to do, as the Terrors and their fans just hoping that that clock can go as quick as possible, and it never seems to go very fast when you've got the lead and you want to get it down, especially when it's 25 degrees out and the wind's blowing in your face.
Yeah. Well, last year at this time,
this would be a win, of course, by Appleton West over the team that beat them last year in the championship game.
Yeah, and the score is 17-7. Last year was 17-14.
Similarities. Erickson to McGlone. He's tripped up from behind as Ryan Lee gets him and pulls him down, but the clock keeps on going. Are they going to call a timeout yet? They do call their second. This telecast is authorized under rights granted by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and Wisconsin Public Television, and is intended solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written permission of the WIAA and Wisconsin Public Television is strictly prohibited. And I might take this opportunity along the state and around the state of Wisconsin to welcome the live broadcasts that are taking us here tonight. WKBT in La Crosse, Eau Claire, WLUK in Green Bay and the Fox Cities, and WDJT, Channel 58 in Milwaukee, as well as communications companies and Wisconsin Public Television. We're glad you have been able to join us for some or all of the games. It's been very entertaining here at Camp Randall Stadium. Again, the best high school teams in the state coming here and showing why high school football is so popular here.
How long did it take you to memorize that disclaimer? Did a heck of a job on it.
Yeah, all from memory. I've got some property I can sell you, Ken.
Okay, I'd be interested.
It's a 4th down, and back to punt for Appleton West is Brett Cadlick. He gets it away, and it bounces and down there at about the 22-yard line. So we'll have to look for some miracle plays as Josh Chudikoff downs it there.
Now you turn your chart over and you look for all the trick plays that we've acquired over the years, and I don't know if Coach Davey spends much time working on them. I know a lot of coaches do. They devote a certain time during practice during the week to work on them, and they're going to have to use 1 or 2 because they're going to need something here. I suspect Appleton will be in a real deep zone waiting for something like that.
Yeah. Ostwald is 15 yards deep, and he'll be moving back on the snap. Bobeck fakes the deep pass, looking, finally throwing long, and that pass is out of bounds. Well, he certainly got plenty of time from his offensive line, but nothing ever opened up. You can sense a little frustration there just looking at Brian Bobeck.
That time they weren't at 2 deep. They had 2 safeties deep in the field. They dropped their corners in the flats, dropped off their linebackers, dropped off one of their ends. They're playing zone all over the field, and not getting too much of a pass rush, but just having him try to pick out a receiver and try to throw it at 11 or 8 men. How many they're dropping now?
Bobeck looking for the slant. Now he'll look to run. Again, no room, and throws it and gets his man. That's complete and finally knocked out of bounds. The pass caught by Tom Fisher, and Kurt Miller again on the tackle. But Bobeck bought some time and got a first down.
Fisher made a nice move, struggling to get the ball out of bounds. Here you see Bobeck again. Looking for his first receiver is not there. He's scrambling and rolling to his right. Now he'll pick up Fisher, crossing over the middle. And
he might have been thrown to Sisler also.
Yeah, I think he was.
First and 10. Let the clock running down here, and Tremper needing 2 scores. Bobeck throwing long for Sisler. Out of bounds. Stops the clock with 1:09 to go. And of course, it has to be frustrating for Tremper not only to look like they're going to lose here, but so many of the seniors, such high expectations, and think about it for them, they won a state championship last year and wanted it so badly again this year.
Well, you know, sometimes it's tough to get a team back up after winning a state championship. You know, you've got one in your trophy case already, and you've got the medals. It takes a little bit extra to turn it on again, especially if you lost some seniors. Now, they were predominantly junior club. You had some great people coming back, so I don't think it was too difficult to motivate them because they were pretty good kids to begin with. But this in no way should shine on their season, which was an excellent one.
Bobeck dropping deep. Now it breaks down, and he's sacked. Ryan Bobeck never got the pass off. Sacked by Chad Capelli.
With that zone coverage downfield, he's having a tough time picking up an open receiver, and he keeps on looking and searching for secondary people or people underneath, and he's just not finding them.
Now they'll call a second play here and go to it right away. And Bobeck again throwing, but excellent coverage by Cadlick over there. Too good. That'll be interference in the sense of face guarding.
Yeah, he blinded him. You can't do that. You have a right to the ball. You can run with the person, but you can't block his vision with your hand or your body.
And usually what the officials are looking for there is an effort to look back for the ball.
Exactly, and here we have it on tape. I don't know if we can pick up the defensive back. Yeah, he just kind of screened him out and blinded him.
Yeah.
He might have even been riding him a little bit. There may have been some interference there.
So in high school, that moves it forward a bit, but it's not as severe a penalty as it is in professional football.
No, it's not from the point of infraction. They'll mark it off in the previous spot.
So they'll get a first down, but again, 42 seconds to go. Attendance tonight, 4,616. That's excellent considering how cold it is, but those fans right there, obviously from Appleton West, they're not thinking about the cold temperature. The double reverse here, and Sisler looking to pass, and he gets his man, Vasilopoulos, down to the 14-yard line.
We've got a flag down there, Jay, or Kenny, I'm sorry, about the 45-yard line. I would say a hold or a clip.
Well, Appleton West doesn't usually have players going both ways, but it's interesting that
it's against a defense. Might be a defensive hold.
Ooh. Paul Engen has his quarterback back there. Erickson playing defensive back, and this is a team that has not had to put any players both ways.
Well, I'm looking for something here defensively.
They didn't need the penalty. It was back near the line of scrimmage. So 33 seconds to go. The play stands without the penalty, and Bobeck to pass again. Looking in the corner, that's out of bounds. Watch out. A little tight down there in the corner. And 27 seconds to go. Well, onside kick. Always a possibility, but Appleton West just keeps on squeezing and squeezing the time down and making it unlikely for Tremper to get another score after this. Bobeck 10 for 23, and I would dare say that Tremper hasn't passed 23 times in any game earlier this season.
No, they don't like to pass. They want to pass when they want to pass and not when they're forced into it.
Bobek looking for number 24. Hits his man. Ooh, knocked down at the 2-yard line. And there's Erickson on the tackle. But Tom Fisher complete. And again, the quarterback back there, Paul Engen changing his pattern and not having any player play both ways, but you want to put an athlete back there.
At this point, when they're throwing so much and have to throw, you want to get your better athletes in the secondary. People who can run, jump, cover ground, have good hands, so you want to have them in on the interception. Here's the replay. You see Bobek on a little half roll, sets up right across the middle. Fisher on a little delay right up the seam.
Now Tom Fisher's caught a few passes here. We haven't talked about him, a 5'10 senior. He's only caught 5 passes all year, but he had a 34.8 average on the receiving, and yet tonight he's good for at least 2 that I can think of, and maybe 3.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. Did a nice job blocking, too, when they ran the ball.
So the senior coming through in his last game and making some big catches here. Now 21 seconds to go. Let's look at it from Tremper's point of view. The score on the first play. Try an onside kick, obviously.
Yeah, you've got to recover, and then I think they have a timeout left. Then you've got to Hail Mary, throw the ball, reverse, hook and ladder.
Whatever. Something you might have, if you get in here on the first play, you might have a couple of plays. Bobek to pass, rolling out, looking to buy time.
Throw it away, throw it away.
Now he throws it. Oh! In the corner, Vasilopoulos.
Is that ball touched or you just dropped it?
I don't know. Ostwald cut in front there at the final second. I don't know if it was deflected or not.
He might have blocked his vision or got a piece of it or flat out dropped it. Here's a replay again. Rolling to the right, looking for his receivers, buying time, keeping the ball alive.
He's lucky he had time to...
That looked like Ostwald might have tipped it.
Yep, I think so. The second and goal, but only 13 seconds. Deflected over the middle as they try to hit Sisler. Now down to 10 seconds.
That's a play they ran successfully about 3 times the second half. A little fake to the fullback and then open up the other way with Sisler on a slant. And this time some defensive lineman got his hand up there and knocked it down.
Well, we're down to 10 seconds. Wouldn't it be ironic?
17-14.
Yes.
But I think if Tremper punches it in, they'll go for 2, I think.
17-14 was the score last year when Kenosha Tremper beat Appleton West. Bobek rolling out, being chased now, trying to get to the corner, and just short, but out of bounds. Out about the 6-inch line.
There's that Appleton West pursue again. It looked like he was going to turn the corner, and then the pursuit caught up with him.
Kevin Beth with the hit in the corner there, preventing the touchdown. And Bobek running and running hard. And look at the speed that Beth shows here. That's Steve Shabaugh chasing him from behind, though.
You want to sneak it here, Kenny?
What do? Bobek rolls to the outside, and he's stopped. He doesn't get in.
And that's the ball game.
And that was 4th down. And the clock runs out, and that's it. It'll be a 17-7 final as the fans and the players from Appleton West celebrate. They are the state champions, 1992 WIAA Division I football. Number 17, Brian Bobek, a little sad about things, but Tremper can be so proud of what they've done to get to this point. And it's revenge, even though it wasn't a big factor, but it's revenge for Appleton West, and how sweet it is to come back a second year and to win it this time. And look at the fans at Appleton West. The Terrors can celebrate because their team is the champion. 13-0, a perfect season. They'll be getting their championship trophy in just a moment. We'll have a word later with Coach Paul Engen. Right now, for our commercial stations along the line, time to hear from our local sponsors. This is the WIAA State Football Network.
It's the annual Camcorder Countdown Sale at Van Breedy's, where you'll find the largest selection at the guaranteed lowest prices. An RCA 8mm camcorder with 8:1 zoom, flying erase head, and much more is only $649. Or choose a thin-profile full-size camcorder from Sharp with 12:1 zoom for only $799. And as a special bonus, we'll include a tripod, carrying case, and tape with any camcorder. Plus, pay no money down and make no payments until February of next year during the Camcorder Countdown Sale, only at Van Breedy's, Appleton, Little Chute, and Green Bay.
Tires are a major purchase.
Third Peters, aisle 17.
So you need to talk to people who know tires. Like the complete value line of Kelly tires. On sale now at Pomps. Kelly's will keep you rolling through all kinds of weather. And Pomps will help you find the right Kelly tire for you and your budget. And we'll back you up with Pomps expert service. So don't buy your tires from just anyone. Buy from the people who know. Pomps, the tire professionals.
So Appleton West, the winner, 17-7 over Kenosha Tremper. And if Tremper gets that last touchdown in, it would have been oh so similar to last year. But it's the reversal of last year and the win for Appleton West. And it's real sweet for the Terrors right there. Look at them celebrate. All 85 players on the varsity. So Ken, a good game, and two teams that are well coached, probably the best two teams in the state going at it, and Appleton West taking that first half and cruising from there.
I would agree with you. They played their best football offensively in the first half. I think defensively they played some pretty good football second half. Kenosha was a little more inspired, held onto the ball a little longer, generated a drive, scored some points, but it was too little too late.
Right now, let's go to the announcer here at Camp Randall, Jack Rain, for the trophy presentations.
To present the awards, our Board of Control members, Don Pierce, Principal at the Pier High School, the President of the Board of Control. Carol Lamp, Assistant District Administrator, Brillion Public Schools. Assisted by Doug Chickering, the Executive Director of the WIAA. Captains, Derek Sisler, Rudy Ruffalo, and Brian Bobick of Division I runner-up Kenosha Tremper. Please come to the awards table to receive the individual awards. And the coach, the Division I runners-up from Kenosha Tremper, Ron Davies. Captains, Jason McGlone and John Ostwald of Division I state champions, Appleton West. Please come to the awards table and receive the individual medals. And the coach of the 1992 Division I state champions from Appleton West, Paul Engen.
So Paul Engen, in his 24th year as head coach at Appleton West, gets the state championship trophy, and he wanted me to stress through the broadcast how important it is to have the continuity. He has a veteran coaching staff, and one of the coaches not able to be here tonight Hank Succo came down with a circulatory problem, and the first game that he misses in 26 years.
Yeah, he's been a loyal assistant to him, and that's the key to him. Paul's a great coach, and he's got an excellent staff with him, too.
And he talked about the continuity being so important. So, Hank, we know you're watching tonight. Congratulations to you, too. You're a part of this.